Everybody go and get your tinfoil cap. Hazmat suits for the losers in the back. It goes gas mask, gas mask, gas mask, gas. Hazmat suits for the losers in the back.
Yo, it's time to get politic with the whiz kid. Folks who stay holistic, mostly full of shit. But let's be heuristic, victims of the grift. And me, I'm not a hero, but you know the shoe fits. Everybody go and get your tinfoil cap. Hazmat suits for the losers in the back. It goes gas mask, gas mask, gas mask, gas. Hazmat suits for the losers.
Oh, what do you guys want to talk about?
Oh, you didn't know?
Well, hello there. Here we are. We are going to talk about some things. We are the Council of the Waste. It is 6 of us all together. We are all YouTubers, and if you've not watched any of our previous podcasts, you should go and watch them, because we did episode 1, and then we did episode 2. And now we're doing episode 3, which is called The Profligate. Was that the name of this episode?
Well, yes, it was. It's also called Consistency.
Oh, yes. So I am Ravenswift. I have a YouTube channel where I stream Bethesda titles. We're going to go around and everyone's just going to tell us who they are, just so the listeners know who the heck they're listening to. Bubbles, why don't you start us off?
I'm Bubbles. I stream primarily Bethesda titles. I like mods. I like games with mods, and I like narrative storytelling. So that's my main thing, but I play other stuff too. And I love the Fallout TV show.
Ramith.
Like my companion Bubbles here, I also like the Fallout TV show. My name is Ramith0 of Ramith0 Gaming on YouTube. I'm a variety gaming streamer that plays to open world exploration, survival games, things I can really kind of bite into. And I tend to stick to the apocalyptic, dystopian, and even horror genres.
Cool. All right, GP, what's up with you?
Hi, my channel's the Gameplan. Like some of the other people here, mostly about Bethesda titles. Stream a lot of Fallout, the occasional Starfield, whether anybody likes it or not, because I like that game.
I love it,
and I do love the Fallout series. Not to spoil what my general tone in this discussion, but I am a fan, and I am ready to talk about this.
Nice.
Dom, your turn.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are a wee bit different from some of our fellow council members, but you may know us as the notorious FAM. Yeah. It's your boy, the notorious DOM, and the Morticia Tuas Gomez. 2/3 of Notorious Gaming. That's the hostess with all the cakes, Kathy, and we started. Oh God, I started podcasting and wrestling a long time ago. Kathy and I have covered other shows in the past. This current day, you can find us on Circle of Debate. We do wrestling watch parties live, and Notorious Gaming made its return last weekend. It was a lot of fun. We mostly stream Fallout 4, a little bit of Doom, and we've got a couple other games planned, but mostly Bethesda or Bethesda adjacent titles. And we're kind of the jack of all trades, master of absolutely fucking none. But I've been a Fallout guy since the 20th century. So I am excited to be here talking about this show with you fine folks.
Nice. Yeah. So tonight we're talking about episode 3. And the way I'll do this, the way we will do this, is that I'll read a paragraph or two, just kind of describing what happened in the show. And then we will kind of run with it and we will discuss. So episode 3 opened with our boy Thaddeus, who now has a new job, a job that he seems to like well enough. He's the foreman of a factory with a bunch of child workers of all types, ghoul and smooth skin. And it's a Sunset Sarsaparilla bottling plant. Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Or were they?
It seemed to be present itself that way.
Yeah. So that's how the show opened, and then cut to Lucy, who is being brought into Caesar's Legion camp. One of the advisors, who we finally get to see who Macaulay Culkin was playing, explains that the Legion is currently at war with the NCR. We find out that they're also engaged in a war of succession amongst themselves. And the Legion has been split into two camps, separated by just a little hill, which is hilarious. And the corpse of their previous leader marks the divide. So yeah, what did you guys think of the opening? Or we want to kind of leave that discussion until later, because there are things that happen there later. What did you guys think of the whole Caesar's Legion Civil War thing happening?
Well, let's give the opening a moment.
Okay. Yeah.
I was super, super taken immediately by how again and again the series strikes that perfect, ironic, wonderful balance. We have this kind of charming music. We have this upbeat, Thaddeus, and we have him in this very, like, I don't know, almost wholesome way running a sweatshop for children.
Yeah.
The child labor camp is more
Calls
or less
them all by
what it is.
name. He's so
Wholesome.
encouraging and nurturing. He has all this advice for them, and he's so invested in every single one of them. And then the thing is, he really sold it. Like that bit where he said, "What do we always say? Most kids are dead by this
Most
age."
of us are
like,
dead by this age.
I think he meant it when he was telling Maximus what his upbringing was, and he's like, "Well, I was a shitter, like I worked on a fly farm. That's why I got fed." It was, you just know he's seen pretty hard times. That the fact that he thinks this is a good setup for everybody, I think he was sincere. I don't think he felt ironic about it. We all do when we see it, but like,
I agree.
Yeah,
I absolutely think it's friendly exploitation.
yeah.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
he does
for
say,
sure.
why aren't you making money for me, when that one girl is having a bad time, and then he talks her through her emotional, like,
Right.
problem. But
It's one of those scenes that make you think, like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad in the apocalypse, because like it's child labor, obviously.
sure, it's a 12-hour
Obviously.
shift. They're
But-
12 hours into a 22-hour
Yeah,
shift.
you're 12 hours in. We got 10 hours to go. It's
Yeah.
obviously child labor, but at the same time, he's very like sweet and nurturing and caring. And we see in the intro that not everybody in the wasteland is necessarily like that, Legion.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
it could have been a whole lot worse if those kids were, say, corralled by the Legion. So
Sure, and that is
Thaddeus
the scene we
really
get.
giving them a break, regardless of how he's using them. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, this kind of works for a wasteland. Like, maybe not in real life. If I've got kids running a counterfeit business in the back of my house, I'm going to jail. But in the wasteland, it's kind of sweet.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and they're safe there, right? Like he talks about there being like a secure perimeter and
Perimeters
Which you
and
see
all that.
later.
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So, what did you guys think of Caesar's Legion and Macaulay Culkin?
Oh, how the mighty had fallen.
I mean, first of all, Macaulay Culkin as a Leggett. I was just like,
Yeah. Leggett McAllister, right?
I swear when he had Lucy on a crucifix, I almost wanted to throw like a Legion denarii at her and be like, "Keep the change, you filthy animal." And just
Yeah,
walk away.
right.
Like that was crazy. But the camp itself was like, could you be any more susceptible to snipers? Could you be? Two camps in the middle of a valley, surrounded by high ground,
And they're not watching anybody but each other.
I could literally walk up on them like I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. Don't even try it.
Yeah, but you know why they're not worried? Who is even coming? Nobody. Like,
Yeah,
they're-
it seemed
they're
like
not
they were
worried.
really remote. And you saw later in a scene further down, like how little of the NCR was still left in the Mojave.
Exactly. Like we're used
So
to the
not
NCR and the
threatened.
Legion being like, but it's not like that anymore. No wonder the Legion's not bothering to
10
be
years of
smart.
attrition.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that was funny, and like as Lucy is walking this slave back into the camp, looking around, I think I think some of you guys heard it because we were watching it together. I said it twice. I was like, it was at that moment Lucy knew she fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the slave girl, like she knew what she was coming back
You'd
to.
think so. Bubbles said that in the last, our last
Yeah.
cast. He was saying
I
she's
agreed
gonna go
then,
back
too.
and she's gonna die, and
She's gonna die.
I said it. The only question I had was one word: why? Like, why would you bring her back, Lucy? Why would you go back? Why would you bother? Because
Lucy doesn't know.
Who knows?
Lucy doesn't know. She
doesn't
didn't even know
know
what a tunic was. She doesn't know
Yeah.
at all. And the girl, I think, probably hoped that by bringing Lucy with her, that she had some leeway. Either that, or she is just so completely shell-shocked from her miserable life in the wasteland and being a Legion slave that she doesn't know anything else. And after her ordeal and brush with death, going back home seemed like the only thing that she could think of to do.
Right. What was her last venture away from camp like? Right. So
say that one more time,
It's a
lady.
Stockholm syndrome.
That kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, or she felt like she has no volition of her own, right? She hasn't for so long. She probably doesn't even know what that feels like. So she was just going along with what her new master is doing, which is Lucy, because Lucy saved her. And Lucy's like, all right, we're taking you back to your family. And like,
well, you know what they say in the Legion camps?
she's gonna
Most
do is
wastelanders are dead at this age.
That's true.
So, and they have a well-defended perimeter and, et cetera, et cetera. It's not such a bad,
if
it's
your
not so
opposing
bad.
side doesn't have snipers, but yes.
And I love seeing Caesar laying there with the power fist still on his hand.
Yeah, there
and
were
his
some great
hand
nods there.
blown up from the brain tumor with the crown just like stuck to
Pinched.
it.
Yeah.
And this little note that just says I am, and
Okay,
nothing
I
else.
got a theory, and we'll know very soon, I suppose. Whether this is right or wrong. But
Tonight
my
at
theory
midnight.
is, right, that they're all fighting. All these legionaries, whatever. The Legion camps they're fighting over, this note, but I'm seeing the words "I am" and then repeated "I am" something, and they're like he named his successor, and I'm thinking, wouldn't it just be such a snot-nosed way to do, just such a thumb in their face to be like, I am the successor. I don't think he named anybody else. And we got two guys calling themselves
I am your leader always.
Yeah, I think
says, but they won't
and
take it out of
I
his
am
pocket.
twice. I think they already know what he wrote on that note. Well,
I don't think that they know what he wrote on that note, but I think it was kind of brilliant in his last moment. I can't remember if they explained why or how that came to be. Like, yes, the successor, their name is on a note in Caesar's pocket, and we can't get to it because people keep sniping us as we try and get to it from both sides.
And he says it in such a pissant way too.
Yeah, but
they won't
like,
let us get the note. They keep shooting at us.
Do you think though that was Caesar's plan all along? Like the previous leader's plan all along?
I think it was Dom that said it, right? His brain was all blown up outside of the size of his crown.
Yeah,
I don't think he had a coherent thought from the end of what we would call the video game until the moment that he died. I think he was swimming in, brain juice.
He was probably just Porky Piggin at the end, like I am. That's all, folks.
Literally be all that it is, or it could be a quote.
Well,
and by the way, if you notice while you're watching, we're using the soft C because we don't care about being sued.
No.
Sue us for what?
Well, okay. I mean, Lucy's whole lecture to everybody was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to have her try to historically educate them, right? She's going to edify the Legion about whether they should.
It honestly felt like
Kaiser
something you
Caesar.
would say, GP. It really did.
I'm going to say it's definitely,
Right.
Not
We've all thought it. And then the ghoul even goes ahead and ribs him about it a little bit as well.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
Faction of the gaming community, it's always like, well, actually, in the lore, it says, there
are going to be some linguistics.
it's literally that. It's like, that's the lore guy. Oh, shit.
Yeah, there's going to be some linguistics people, though, who are going to say that, Latin, would have had the hard K, at the time, and the Legion's not even wrong there, and, so on and so forth. So, But
Every
it's
Reddit
still
thread
fun for them
about that guy.
to play with that controversy.
I mean, who's right? Does it even matter at this point?
All right,
No.
Mr. English major.
Busted
As
out
somebody
how
who
funny it is to
studied
make fun of those
linguistics,
people. That's all.
Yeah.
yeah, as somebody who studied linguistics, the thing that you learn if you're in it long enough is just how malleable it actually is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
As long as you-
descriptivist school of linguistics versus the
Yeah.
proscriptivist school of
Mhm.
linguistics.
That's right.
I mean, you guys are getting really deep in this, and I think it was literally just Simpson syndrome. Like, you remember that
Oh, I'm a
Halloween
nerd.
special where they were talking about their shinning? And
Yeah.
Groundskeeper Willie was like, "You want to get sued?" And he's like, "All right, I'll use my shinning." Exactly. The mighty
Maybe.
Kaiser. Isn't it Caesar? Shut up.
Both though, right? I mean, that's the culture that we live in. We have both those references, you
Yeah.
know. So absolutely both.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's
leave
the
it to me to
funniest part.
leave it to me to add the low ball in there. That's- let me come in. Let me stop dragging my knuckles to mention the Simpsons.
Just drop the chair on us already, man.
I'm lighting this table on fire.
All right. Well, so we do see the ghoul who catches up to Lucy finally at the Legion camp, and he scouts the area and decides he needs reinforcements.
Mhm.
So he goes to visit the NCR HQ. I'm like air quotes HQ,
Mhm.
and talks to Victor the Securitron,
Mhm.
which that was my favorite part of the episode, by the way.
That was very cool.
It was very
Like,
cool.
seeing
Yeah,
camp
yeah.
golf in real life
Yeah.
instead of in New Vegas was.
I like that. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I like that Victor knew who the ghoul was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's
That
met
they
him.
went way back. Yeah.
Mhm.
But the thing that had me in that scene was when Victor said something about Cooper getting cold fusion for Robert House.
Oh, yeah.
Like, didn't you have something to do with that? I was like,
You had something to do
what?
with that, didn't you,
What did
back
he
in the day?
Right. That was some fun foreshadowing, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
because clearly that
Yeah.
reveal is
A lot
coming.
of
That
questions.
history will be revealed soon.
The
Mhm.
episode.
But even before that, and GP, I think you might be impressed that I caught this. When Cooper was recuperating, no pun intended, he was digging that must have been like a piece of the scorpion stinger or like I don't know
Or
what
just
it was,
infected.
Yeah.
or infected tissue out of his leg. He started talking about a ship and this, that, and the other. It was
That
actually
Greek metaphor, yeah.
Yeah.
the ship of
Theseus.
Theseus theory. That if you
Yep.
take apart, it's like one of those thought experiments, like if a tree fell in the woods. It's
Yeah.
if you take a ship apart and you rebuild it plank by plank, is it still the same ship?
Exactly. At
Well,
what
they
point is
also
it not
say
the same
that-
ship?
Yeah, they also say that like as humans, our bodies slough enough skin cells every 7 years that
Yep.
our entire body is not regenerated, but made up of
Yeah,
new
regenerate.
cells. So
Mhm.
like, does that mean we're a new person every 7 years?
Yeah,
Yes.
there have been some fun philosophical
Mhm.
questions from the 20th century, all like around that exact kind of thing. So yeah, I liked the ghoul for having that discussion with CX404.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I
as
love
he's
that he talks
digging
to his
rad
dog.
scorpion stingers out of his leg.
Yeah.
Like, what a renaissance man. Seriously,
You mean dog meat?
I loved it.
Yeah, dog meat.
Dog meat.
Dog meat. Yeah.
Is
Not
it dog meat?
just like all the other dog meats from all the other games aren't
Mhm.
really
But the
the same dog
coolest
meat from Fallout
I'm
1.
trying to stay on the right side of the facts here, guys. I try.
there
Yeah,
is
no, I
there-
mean,
there is no right side.
I
Okay.
thought it was the ship of Theseus part that was most interesting to me is he didn't even bother trying to put the ship back together. He
Right.
was literally talking about removing one plank at a time until all you had was a pile of wood,
Yep.
Mm.
which is a
Because that's how he feels.
very different thing than what a lot of people think of. when they think of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Theseus.
That scene
He took a
felt-
very reductionist standpoint
that
on it.
scene felt so powerful because it felt like the old Cooper was coming out in the ghoul, and then they flash back to
Mhm.
Cooper, and it looks like the new ghoul is coming out of him staring at his wife crying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, don't
Because
get too far ahead
usually-
of us now.
Usually it would be, oh, honey, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. He'd be all over Buttercup, all that bullshit. And he just kind of stands there with this cold look in his eye.
Yeah.
And he just kind of goes like,
Why is she
Alright.
crying?
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
whatever, I gotta go to that.
I
Yeah,
understood that
I
moment.
had
Okay,
that
fine.
question
If we're
too,
gonna
Ren.
talk about that moment, I feel like I understood what was going on with Cooper in because you're right. I mean, it's obviously open to interpretation, but what I saw was a man struggling with reconciling his wife, who he's loved, who he has a child with, crying about having to lose their life together. He's trying to reconcile that woman who's definitely real in front of him in their kitchen and he understands, with the one he heard planning
Mm-hmm.
to start the war off. Like the Vault Tech her and the domestic her, he's trying
I think that's fair.
to reconcile. And then
Oh, no, it's very
here's
fair.
my theory is that, sorry, I'm totally bogarting this. I'm like, and me and mine and my ideas.
No, you're good.
Well,
Sorry.
finish your
But-
thought already then.
Yeah, my thought. Yes. Let me do that. Let me do you that courtesy, right? Okay. It is that when I know I'm pushing us further into the episode, sorry, but when Charlie Whiteknife is suggesting, you know, hey, you got to do something, you got to do, you know, some bad stuff to do the right thing and all that stuff. I think it's appealing in part because Cooper's thinking if he can end Vault Tech's plans somehow, which, you know, apparently Robert House is key to and all that stuff. If he can do that, then he can end Barb's involvement in Vault Tech plans like that. And he can have the version of Barb he can understand and accept. And he can stop the other version from being such a factor if he just stops all the plans. Now she can't be a part of bad plans. They're not happening anymore because he's gone and saved everyone from it.
Right.
It's a very top-down process.
Maybe.
It's a very
Yeah,
top-down way of doing
I feel
that.
like in order to do that, he had to start to become a little bit more like he currently is.
Sure.
So your theory
Yeah.
and my theory kind of fit
Yeah,
together.
They're on a spectrum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a puzzle. We're putting the pieces together and they're fitting perfectly.
Yeah, but how many pieces can you take away before you're not even looking at the same puzzle anymore?
Exactly.
Right?
Good point. Yeah. That's the writer's room on the first Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. I had the same thought as Ram, though. Why was Barb so distraught in that scene?
I think it hit her. The emotion, the impact on her daughter hit her. Barb may be a corporate ladder climbing murder hobo, but she's also
True.
a mother. And those two things can exist simultaneously. You get mommy
Yeah.
dearest with it
Not
eventually
just.
when the kid starts competing with the mom. But for the start of it, when the kid's still really young, those paternal or maternal instincts are still there. They just express themselves in warped ways. And I think she was breaking down over, I can't fit the teddy bear. It's not all perfect, you know.
But
You guys are too hard
Like-
on Barb. You're too hard on Barb.
Are
I
we,
know-
though?
No.
Are we, though?
I was very
Yes.
sympathetic
She's
to her
pretty
character
freaking
in that
evil.
moment.
She's like Bond
No,
villain
no, you're-
evil.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say my piece. You're too hard on Barb because we haven't heard from Barb. We have not gotten her side of it. You think we're not going to get her side of it?
Oh,
We
I think
are.
we will. I think we will.
Yeah.
I think we
And
will.
when we do,
Remember,
we're going to
Barb is
realize she's
also-
been backed into a corner. She's been boxed in, and it's saving her family and helping Vault Tech because what Vault Tech is doing is inevitable. Or it's letting Vault Tech steamroll her and her family and not even saving the one piece of the world she cares enough about to try. Like that's it. That's what we're going to find out is that Vault Tech was going to do this thing with or without Barb, and she could see the writing on the wall. And the only thing she could do was try to save some piece of it. That's going to be Barb.
She still got
I know. For instance, like Kathy just called her evil as fuck, but
Yes, I did.
when she was sitting there, kind of torn between, you know, her career, what she and her goals and her own child, did that soften you at all as a working mom, or were you just like, nah, she's evil as fuck?
I mean, I can kind of see both sides. Like, I can relate to what GP is saying, whereas like she probably was backed into a corner and she just wanted to be there to kind of help save them. But also, it's just you gotta have a little bit of evil in you to go through with those plans.
A lot of evil.
Yeah, and just
And
to go
evil,
through
evil?
all that.
Yeah. Ram, what are you thinking?
I have something very critical to add to that thought, and this is what made me soften up to her. Right, if you think about her in a brushstroke sense, like if you take her as a singular human being, remember, she's involved in this. She has helped this thing along. She's not just a mother; she's also a wife to a smart man. She is also somebody else's kid. She's probably got brothers and sisters. Maybe some of them didn't even make it into the vault. But here's the thing. She's pushing a teddy bear. Out of all the things that she's going to lose in this life, she's losing her mind over a teddy bear that she can't fit into a case. The absurdity of that is really what struck a chord with me. Out of all the things that she had the power to save, she's so like focused on this one little act.
But what did
You
that
know,
take
her despair is real.
Mm.
She's not going through the motions. That's not performance. She
Oh,
doesn't know what
I
to
don't
do
think
with
she
herself.
was performing. I don't think she was performing at all. I just think that, I mean, for all we know, she just found out that she's nowhere near as in charge as she thought she was.
Too.
And this is her trying to control something in her life. And that's what she's so upset about. Not the fact
It's
that
like, why am I
Jamie's not going to have
this?
a teddy bear. You know, we don't know that. And there's at some point that's going to happen. There's the Enclave or whoever's really in charge at Vault-Tec has a different plan than Barb does because Barb's kid is at a birthday party the day the bombs drop. And that's not Barb's plan. There's no way that's Barb's plan.
No, that's not Barb's plan.
So she gets outmaneuvered at some point, and it may have been right before then.
And I think, and I also think, you know, like she said, anybody that has a child, like even if you were a child, like you all have that one. Everybody has that one favorite toy that they just can't let go of. And for all we know, that could have been Janie's favorite. That could have been Janie's favorite. I still have a fucking stuffed koala bear from when I was like 4. That thing has moved from every place I've ever lived in, multiple states, hundreds of miles. It's still in my fucking night table. So it's kind of it kind of hits you, you know, when you look at it from that standpoint. But at the same time, it's like, isn't this what you wanted? You're kind of creating this situation.
Well, there's no room in Vault-Tec for anything but yes men. When she said we could drop the bombs ourselves, that wasn't her idea. She's just supposed to push the party line. Somebody else came up with that idea, but it was her job to suggest it in the meeting. So guess what she's going to do? You know,
it's possible. It's possible.
Plus, she needs to know that everybody else in the room has to agree with her. So for her to be assertive about that fact, you know, she's probably also looking for, okay, who's in this room that's not with us, you know?
Yeah. That was my initial thoughts with House too, as far as it jiving with what he talks about in the game. You know, when in that scene, the version of House, whatever that is like, you know, interesting, and tell me how that would work. Not fuck you guys are crazy. And that makes good sense too, because if there is any higher power above the government and Vault-Tec and the Enclave or whatever it is that is monitoring that meeting, House would know that that is happening. He might not know the pertinence, but he would know. And to show weakness in that moment or to push back too hard would mark him as a target.
Right.
So
besides, I think, sorry, Bubbles. Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think House and, oh no, I forgot Cooper's wife's name.
Barb.
Thank you. House and Barb are a couple of the smartest people in the room, probably in most rooms, and I think they both read the writing on the wall. Vault-Tec's going to do what it's going to do. We know that House mostly did a much larger, grander version of what Barb's trying to do. He wanted to save New Vegas. Vault-Tec's going to, like, this war is going to roll, and House is just going to make sure he's on the in the inside circle enough to know how to save the one thing he wants to save and preserve what he wants to preserve.
Right.
And that's what Barb wants to. You know, they're both kind of in that room for the same reason, I think. You know, and and they're both being cast as the bad guy, I suppose. But in a way, what if they're right? What if this was always going to happen? What if this was going to happen, but New Vegas wasn't going to survive? Or this was going to happen, but, you know, Cooper Howard and their daughter weren't going to survive? Like, what if that really is those really are the only two scenarios? Then that means Barb and House are being judged pretty harshly when they were going to save something and not nothing. I guess I'm playing around in the gray area, or I'm making excuses for them. And obviously Cooper, he's still around, and he stood up for something. I get the impression he stood up for something. So, I know, but it's just so hard for me not to feel like, I guess I'm like Lucy. Like, she comes out of the vault assuming a bit of goodness in everybody, and so she doesn't really understand everybody. Like, she doesn't understand what she's dealing with. Yeah,
her worldview is already colored.
Yeah. I look at House and Barb, and I'm just like, yeah, but obviously they're good people. So why would they? What would push them to do this? And I might just be that vastly naive in some of my baseline assumptions when I'm watching shows and reacting to them on an emotional level. I might just be like, well, there has to be a reason. There has to be a reason why a normal good person would do this, and I'm probably just kind of wrong, but.
No, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt. You're playing devil's advocate. I'm pretty sure what the showrunners want us to do.
Yeah.
Because they're not they understand that the audience is way smarter than it used to be, especially because we're all Fallout fans already. We know so much about this franchise already. They know that we're asking all of these questions, and they know that we're probably thinking about the motivations behind all of these evil people's actions. Yeah, I think it speaks to their treatment, their gentle treatment of the IP, which is, I think it's a good thing that they're making us think of all of these
They're
things.
also consistent too,
Yeah.
It was stated very early on, everybody's trying to save the world.
Ways.
They're all doing it in their own way. Everybody is doing what they think is right. I don't automatically want to assume that a villain is just evil. That's one of the reasons why I felt bad for Barb. Or even House. He's doing what he feels. He's going to save what he wants to save because he needs it. You can't.
That was my question. Is House
Victor said that House just wanted to live forever, and then all of this got in the way. If he wanted to live forever after the bombs drop, and suddenly he's the last man around, what kind of existence is that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's the same game Voltec is playing. Isn't that what Bud was saying? All we got to do is outlast
everybody's jockeying for who's going to come out in the end. All right. But, you get all that. Is everybody really going to be a winner in this situation?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the ghoul says to Victor, right? In my experience, the same thing goes for losing. Everyone loses eventually, that's kind of.
And there's no one to lord it over either. So the entire plan is a Bud's plan, but it's not a mastermind plan. Bud's wasn't a mastermind. Otherwise his head wouldn't have been up on a Roomba.
Yeah, really.
Right, exactly.
He was a middle-level functionary idiot.
I still don't think we've seen the man on the strings, if you catch my
right.
Drift.
Dance, puppets! Dance!
We've only seen one side. We've only seen one side.
Yeah.
But there was,
I think, the management program is just one layer added to a multi-layer that's probably saying the same thing just in different ways. The useful idiot is they're everywhere in this thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of
why
people
I
have
been
been
up
for
that's for sure.
and Quintus, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we talked about a lot about Barb and Cooper and the flashback, but we haven't really talked about the veterans meeting that Cooper went to.
One point I'd like to make before we go into that at all.
Okay, what's that, Bubs?
When the ghoul first comes to the camp, he makes a joke, like a sarcastic witticism at the expense of the Legion about the hard seas and the soft seas or whatever. And there's a laugh track that you hear while you're still focused on the ghoul's face. And that's because it's a laugh that's coming from that scene at the VFW hall. And they did that twice in this episode.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't notice. That's brilliant.
So
I noticed the transition was off.
The transition was off, and we were getting the laugh track from the VFW hall superimposed over the ghoul making his point or whatever at the
sassy little remark.
I love that you saw that. I love it.
I'll have to look for that. Yeah. Huh.
So yeah, what did we think about the veterans meeting and Charlie Whiteknife's speech?
I love
and
Charlie.
Everything.
Yeah.
Charlie's great.
Such a beauty.
Charlie's
He's
amazing.
a poet with like 5 words. He can do so much.
Yeah.
I give him credit as an actor. It's not the first time I've seen him in something, but I think in this particular way, just his physical acting with being so subtle and having a gravitas beyond his dialogue,
Yeah.
especially when when he finally got off the stage, he kind of finally exhaled
Mhm.
and then sat down next to Cooper Howard and was like, "Here you go."
Mhm.
That scene crushed me in a lot of ways.
It was
He
very
nailed
But
the
all-
the other
archetype
thing
of the
is-
Marine.
It was
but
all so perfect.
Yeah.
Like his story was so. He was so economical in trying to show Cooper, remind Cooper something of what Cooper
Yeah.
needed to hear, needed to remember. The story was pitch perfect for a guy trying to remind Cooper that, of what it's like to be in the trenches, trying to fight the good fight, not really knowing how it's all going to turn out, and not and being asked to do something kind of nasty for what is supposedly the greater good.
Mhm.
That entire story was just about who Cooper is, and that bit where he wanted Cooper to remember what he said. Are the other guys all
Yeah.
right? It's because he's trying to remind Cooper, you're the guy who worries about everybody else. You're the guy who
Mhm.
makes sacrifices for the others. You're being asked to do it now in this whole assassinate house thing.
Mhm.
And his whole story was about that. His whole story was about how
Oh,
we don't,
absolutely.
his whole dialogue
was
about
speaking
how
to
we don't
Cooper
get
the
to,
whole
as
time.
Marines,
That's all it
we don't
was.
get to know. We don't get to know if it's all the perfect plan. We don't get to know if it's all going to turn out okay. All we can do is try to bet on the side that seems to be protecting the people we love. Like it was just so well done. I mean,
It was
Charlie.
very well delivered.
Oh yeah, and then the flip, the lighter. You're all fans of those words when he gives him the lighter and says they just awarded me this for saving a man. They didn't give it to me for the 3 guys I had to kill to do it. It's all of it is reinforcing that message to Cooper so well. And then when Cooper's playing with the lighter and probably used it to set something on fire in the Legion camp, and he says, and Lucy says, "What did you do?" And it's like, I don't know, maybe something good.
Maybe something good, maybe
Maybe
something
something
stupid.
stupid. Mhm.
That lighter, I'm thinking the handoff from Charlie to Cooper in the flashback of the lighter and what that meant. Like this is some kind of award for doing something that required something bad. Sometimes that's what we got to do. I feel like that lighter that he's looking at and he's thinking to himself, did this light, did this just make me, help me, whatever, do something stupid? I think we're going to see that in the past. That's exactly what that lighter did. That handoff from White House, he's going to do something.
Yeah, that camp moment was like his Charlie moment. Like, I used this to save one person, but how many people did I just kill?
I think it was, and it was directly the opposite too. He got the lighter for the person he saved, but it was really in his mind, what about the 3 people I had to kill? He gave the lighter to Cooper and repeated the line. Later on, Cooper is going to use the lighter to kill in order to save. So it's like that mirroring of the whole handoff of the lighter, from the one hand to the other, which is you see in the cut from the moment he hands it to him in the VFW hall until Cooper pops it open and says his line about maybe something good, maybe something stupid. It's just mirrored. It's across the same point of view and everything.
That's what made this episode so great for me, was to watch that transition of Cooper on both sides. Like, you kind of saw him turning more into what he became in the past, but then you kind of saw him turning back into a little bit of what he used to be in the present at the same time.
Or we're just seeing how much of Cooper is still there. Like
Yeah.
there's still a lot of the Cooper in the flashbacks in the Ghoul now. There is.
Exactly. And apparently, because we hadn't seen much of it, but there's still a lot of Cooper in the Ghoul, and it started to come out in this when he was, talking to the dog and being sweet, because that's what Cooper did.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you saw it in season 1 when he was quoting Charlie's stuff to Lucy and kind of like putting himself in that Charlie moment where it's like, okay, I just had to wipe out a Legion camp, but at least I got her. It just felt so cool to see both sides of it at the same time in the same episode. Like that was really well done. And then to beyond that, while Charlie's giving the speech, Cooper goes to the bathroom and doesn't even know he's talking to House, but he's apparently talking to House. And that scene was pretty powerful as well, especially when I'm just going to call him Anthony is calling him a Pico and all this, and Cooper's telling him, like, you're clearly not a vet because you wouldn't talk politics when a man's got his dick out.
Yeah, while he's holding his dick.
I have to admit that I had to ask Ron why you wouldn't talk politics with someone.
It's a
with
man thing for
his
sure.
dick
Yeah.
in his hand. I was like, but like,
You
what?
don't really
Like,
talk
what's the
anything.
risk?
Right,
What's
I
the
was gonna
risk?
Yeah.
say that
That's it.
entire conversation
There are
right there.
would
rules.
involve
That's
There
it
are
right
rules
there.
for the urinal.
Yeah.
Like first off,
Ironically,
if
It
there's
clocks
two
you as not a
guys,
man.
if there's two guys and you
Oh,
both have to
really,
use the
Bubbles?
urinal,
Yeah.
Okay.
you
Yeah,
always keep a urinal between the two of you.
Oh,
Always.
Okay.
You don't
if
go.
you
You
can,
don't go
Yeah.
one next to the
whenever
other,
possible.
and you
yeah.
don't talk to each other while you're
No.
doing your business. Like
Oh,
Yeah.
so
when you're
you
washing
don't.
your hands,
much
it's
less
okay.
make eye contact.
You
You
don't
don't.
really. You don't make eye contact. You don't have a conversation. You don't do anything while you're doing your business
You
because that
don't
is your
surreptitiously
time.
walk up
Well,
behind somebody and
guys
start
aren't good with
breathing on their
vulnerability,
neck.
and that's a vulnerable moment. So
I like to
that's
hold eye
what I'm
contact
saying.
myself. Just
Like
hold it. Just
football.
hold it. Establish
Unbroken,
dominance.
unblinking
locker
Put
eye
my
room.
dick in my hand.
Football locker rooms removed. Football locker rooms removed because anything goes in a football locker room. But that's not civilization. In civilization,
Good point.
you don't do this at your like you keep one urinal between you and your buddy. You don't say nothing. You just look straight ahead, and then when you guys get to the sinks, you can stand next to each other, wash your hands, and talk shit. But until then, until that moment, you just
Right.
focus.
The macho shit's funny, you guys, but the reality is exactly what was just said. You don't talk about anything other than the matter at hand when you're holding your dick. All men know this, and
Yeah.
when a man doesn't,
Wait, so you talk about your dicks when you
What's
talk?
It's
when you talk
literally
about
an
your dick,
unspoken
you have your
No.
dick in your hand, you're either peeing or you're doing something else with it. I mean,
The
do I need
matter
to
at
spell it out?
hand. You
We're
said
not going
it.
to have a
You said it.
conversation about it at that point, not with another man anyway. You know,
Yeah,
so
men don't like being exposed and having to interact with other men in a bathroom. Like even
Like
if
I said,
another dude
vulnerability, it's
is in a
problematic.
stall
It
next
just
to you
is.
and they're like, "Hey man, is there any toilet paper in there?" The best you're gonna say is "Fuck you, buddy. Use your shirt."
yeah, I don't even see
No.
it that way. I just think that
No.
that it exposed him as somebody who doesn't understand the etiquette of being in the VFW hall.
Okay.
Because he's not
That too.
actually a man. He's kind of a conniving, thinks he's a big thinker, and House is a big thinker. So I'm not suggesting he's not really what he pretends to be in this scene, but the way that he does it, that smarmy, like walk up behind him while he's washing his
Yeah.
hands and
He's trying
be
to
like all
unbalance him.
this and
Like
stuff.
handing him a
He's trying to knock him
napkin
off
or a
balance, and it's like
towel.
Yep.
he already showed that he's not on the same level in Cooper's mind. It's not really a macho thing. It's more about we've already established the pecking order here. So you walking up behind me like this is going to get you hurt. And Cooper's just gracious enough about it, and also a celebrity, that he doesn't go there with it. He just points out what a clown he is by saying, if you were a veteran, you would know better than to talk to another man while he's got his dick in his hand.
Yeah.
He
We
just
don't-
points out to him that you're not one of us, that you're not all you think you are.
I'm going to constantly point out that is Anthony House until they prove me wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
It makes a lot
I
of
think
sense
in
that
this
that is the
story,
actual one.
because there are some changes in this story, I think Robert and Anthony have reconciled and are working together in pre-war.
Yeah, I think Anthony was a
it's a
totally
theory.
different kind of crazy, the more paranoid, schizophrenic
paranoid.
style of
But-
crazy, not the like totally fuck authority kind of crazy. That's a completely different character.
What we're looking at in the bathroom scene, there's a lot of power dynamics. There's definitely a who's really the alpha here kind of a struggle going on between Cooper and House in that bathroom scene. It's all, low key, but it's happening. And what we see, I think, is that House just doesn't have reverence for anything. Nothing is sacred. We
Right.
saw it in the scene where he had the bar fight behind the, or the fight in the alley behind the bar where he controlled the dude. We saw how it's all a game. Like everyone is some chess piece. There aren't any rules that really matter. They just are there to, to manipulate. But I do find him fascinating. I do really like Justin Theroux's portrayal of him. I mean, right down to the way he says, did you win any awards? That WH he puts on things.
Really
It's so
white
fantastic.
knife.
Yeah.
White
knife.
White knife.
It's
GP,
so
you just
perfect.
want
Do
to
you have
say
any
it.
cool
You just want to
clip?
say it, don't you?
Yeah, well,
Let's all do it.
Walkers. Yeah,
Walkers.
I did have a lot of fun with that one too.
Walkers.
Sure. But
Do you
But I
see any
mean, like,
walkers?
he's really making this guy
Squirm.
magnetic. What I mean is he's making House like a magnetic character.
Okay, yeah,
like when he's on the screen, you're watching, and he's fascinating, and I love that. He deserves that. He needs to be that interesting, and it's partly the writing, it's partly the acting. And you know what? Cooper Howard's really holding his own there in that scene, which is impressive. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
House is
So,
a Daedra.
yeah, it's so good.
I think that this definitely illustrates what happens in the game with House. That if you say the wrong things or you imply that you might just disobey his orders and do the opposite or whatever, he explodes with rage. In this version of House, this constrained, winning awards and bringing up the politics of who's a pinko and who's are not, and the pinko
Right.
cause while the guy's trying to pee and wash his hands,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. He's exercising that power dynamic, that dominance, because he, like you said, he's fully in love with his own plans and doesn't believe that anyone's a match for him. And when you buck that trend with him in the game, and I think we'll see later on in the TV show, he is going to explode into a hissy fit of, house rage, just like he did in the game.
Right.
You
if you don't come to the conclusions he expects you to.
You work for me.
Yeah.
And he's going to bust out with that because he won't be able to hold in that awards magnanimous thing anymore when somebody
The final fig leaf.
Yeah.
And then
but I do
swiped
cherish that
out.
character though. He's just so
He's
good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
good,
what,
yeah.
it's between that scene and then the Victor scene and all that. I'm like, then how the hell does Cooper ever have anything to do with helping him ever?
No, I don't think he helped him. You remember what Victor said? He said, well, but he needed that cold fusion thing, as in he didn't get it. So
Yeah,
when
but then he told Cooper, weren't you supposed
didn't
to
you have something to do with that?
that?
I think he means what he said. He wanted to live forever, blah blah blah. But he needed that cold fusion thing to do it. Basically the cards just didn't fall his way. And then he says, "Didn't you have something to do with that?" I think he means Cooper interfered with House's plan.
Yeah.
That was my take.
Yeah, that was my take too.
Yeah.
Cooper
probably couldn't kill such a high profile person. So
I mean,
he
obviously
did
not.
what-
Didn't want to when it came down to it because of something that House tells him. Like, my missile defense system is designed to protect Vegas, not start World War III. That's your wife's job, or
Which
whatever.
seems true.
Right.
Yeah, something like
Something just that simple.
I'm
would
dying
change
to
the
see
course
where
of
this
Cooper
goes.
going after it.
Yeah.
So
In short, I'm really excited to see where all this goes with House and Cooper Howard,
Right.
Or even maybe present day in the series, but then
I think they'll run back
you're
into
saying he's gone. So now I'm like, wait.
Is he? Is
I
he
think
ever?
I think Victor might have a
Is
loose
he
chip
ever?
in his motherboard. Like he might need to upgrade his GPU as well. Do we know what NVIDIA card he's running?
he glitched out every time he was asked about House.
It might be
isn't-
AMD. We don't even know.
Isn't Victor amazing too? Like he's such a
Yeah.
he always is involved in intrigue, and his selective memory, of course, is always very pivotal in maintaining what we
Right.
don't know. Like all the information he can't divulge always keeps us in suspense, always obscures, the real story. And House always had something to do with that selective memory of his in the past. I assume he does now too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm guessing that. All I know is when he popped up on the screen and I saw that picture come up on his face, I fanboyed out like a little girl. I can't even lie.
He really did.
Are we going to see his first meeting with Cooper in the pre-war scene? Do you see the reflection up from the inside of the car?
I suspect,
I think
they
that's
meet
when we're
in
gonna see
pre-war,
it.
him and Victor.
When he
I
pulls up
suspect,
at
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Victor was a Securitron House had pre-war.
Yes.
And that's where Cooper meets him, I think. I also think it might be this kind of funny, ironic, like Victor was around way before this series, but I think the series might be telling us that Victor was perhaps ironically inspired by Cooper's characters on the silver screen. Like wouldn't it be like House to make some caricature of this guy he's having this little frenemies
Yeah.
powers play
It would
with
be.
to like design a robot's whole personality to be a caricature of a guy that you're gonna
Maybe
have
he somehow
interact with the
expected
robot.
to transfer like Cooper's essence into Victor.
No, I'm not getting that.
Like he
far,
did with himself,
but-
or like he did with his girlfriend. You remember his girlfriend in Vegas?
Oh
He took her and
yeah.
he put her in a Securitron body.
Wait, that was a real person first?
Talk to Raul. It wasn't
I
his
guess I
girlfriend.
forgot about that.
It was just a woman he really liked a lot, and he paid her a lot of money to have a brain scan. Raul
A brain
tells you in the
scan.
story.
Okay, sort of like
Yeah.
the detective that Nick
Yeah.
Valentine.
That's
was
what I mean.
taken
I think
from.
that maybe that's what he had planned for Cooper before he killed him. He was just going to scan his brain and make him Victor.
You know,
and-
Victor's not Cooper, but I think that might be the joke: is that Victor is this kind of exaggerated caricature of Cooper's characters in his films, perhaps a little bit.
I could
but,
picture him saying, Mr. Howard, I had my personal Securitron robot designed after the character from your movie, blah, blah, blah. But that would be about the level of it until
wild.
it would already be there.
yeah, your Wild West movies.
Caricatures.
So
I think
guess,
on some level, House actually likes Cooper Howard.
Yeah,
I think
Like,
they're
because he's
allies.
looking for somebody to respect a little,
Yeah,
even as an
yeah.
opponent. Yeah,
I
he
really
does.
do.
That's why I really like House's character in this. I like him better in this series than I did in the games, and he was pretty memorable in the games.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true. That's true.
So
Now, have we talked about the NCR camp yet?
I know.
I
Not
did
really,
have a
no.
couple of bookend things to point out with the scenes that weren't actually covered in the deeper conversation that we were having. There were a couple of things. First of all, yes, with the NCR camp, you saw that the two and they're like near elderly at the same time.
yeah, because they've been they've been cut off for more than a decade. She said.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
They
yeah.
were probably
And
pretty young when this all started.
I don't think the ghoul ever wanted to put them in harm's way. He did get paid.
No.
He did get paid to stop it, and then like he may have just given them some bogus information just so that
We
these
don't know.
these two NCR soldiers off in this camp all by themselves. Cooper doesn't have to do anything with that. You
No.
know, it would be a
Weren't there
waste
three
of
of them?
energy for them.
That's why he drops one of his drug vials and doesn't bother to stoop to pick it up.
Yeah.
He's not taking payment, and
Yeah.
he doesn't.
Maybe.
I don't think he feels like he could take all of their drug vials either, because who knows, one of them might turn ghoul and need it. I mean, we're never going to know. GP's exactly right. We are never going to know exactly what he told that Kaisar and his legionary.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll hear a version of that story from Macaulay Culkin's character if he survived what
Yeah.
we saw.
Maybe.
But we are
Maybe.
never going to know exactly which information he gave. Macaulay Culkin may
Yeah.
go, he told us where to find the NCR, but it could have been false information.
Yeah,
But
You know what I mean? So
Unless
I don't-
the Legion shows up at the NCR camp after all.
well, then we'll
Then
know
we'd
for
know.
sure.
I mean, sure,
Oh,
sure.
well, yeah,
Like,
then we'll
when
know.
it happens,
But
it
the
actually
bigger the bigger thing that I took from that scene is, if you remember in season 1, when Lucy comes across that classroom with the NCR flag and the chalkboard, and it has that timeline.
Oh
And it
no,
talks
no,
about
no,
how-
no! I know where you're going.
Yes,
We're going.
I
back.
know.
We're going back there again. No.
No,
Yeah.
let him go there, GP.
No,
Let him go.
2177, Shady Sands is destroyed, and Fallout fans went nuts because
Fallout.
or
I
22
know.
because
I know.
obviously
That was
Fallout
over 20
takes
years
place-
ago. You know, like I immediately I was
Fallout
just like, oh,
New
no.
Vegas
Oh,
takes
no.
I
place
laughed when I saw that.
in the 2280s. They say Shady Sands was destroyed in 2277. And again, Bethesda came out and said, oh, well, that was just, this, that, and the third. But then they doubled down on it in this episode.
That's what
Because
happened.
because the sergeant, I believe she was, says we've been cut off from a battalion that was east of us since for 10 years.
Yeah, she
They've
said more
been
than a
east
decade.
since
And then
Shady
she said
Sands
when
went
Shady
down.
Sands fell, there was a battalion out east.
Right,
If you
and
get
then
word of them, and he
Cooper
said,
Cooper
you realize
says-
that was
you
over 20
realize
years ago.
that was
don't
over
you?
20 years ago. At this point, they're in the 2290s because I think the show started in 2296, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
So
the
they
events-
just went and doubled down on something that drove a good portion of the Fallout community absolutely
I know.
fucking
I
insane.
know. They
And they did
basically
it on
had the ghoul
purpose.
back up the timeline and say
Exactly,
like,
Bubbles.
They did it on purpose because they know something us gooners don't know. And
Exactly.
that's
That-
gonna be
I think the
whatever it is.
differential
It's
in
gonna be
timeline
the
is
big
purposeful.
moment
Well,
that we all
well,
have
yeah.
when we realize what they meant by the fall.
Okay,
of Shady
actually,
Sands.
Bubbles, can I give you a ton of credit for a thought I was having when that scene happened? You mentioned in some online chats we were having that
Oh, I
you
didn't know
have
if
that
you wanted to bring
fantastic
this
theory. Am I allowed to share
Oh,
it?
absolutely, yeah, man. You can.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
It's been a favorite
I was
of mine
going to as
ever
well,
since you
so go
said it.
ahead, GP.
This is Bubbles. Watch his channel because he might have way, all kinds of insights like this going on. So just know this one blew my mind.
Yeah, me too.
The idea that the show is structured as though the player character in each of the Fallout games never interceded,
existed.
never existed, never came in and did what they did to make a difference. And this is how things fall if we're not involved as player characters. I've loved that idea. Maybe we're giving the writers too much credit, but I've loved that idea. And I thought, what if this whole date schism is really about that? What if
Exactly.
Fallout's 1, 2, New Vegas 3? What if with us gone, the dates move too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if some of the
things
effects
don't
of Fallout
play
1 and
out?
2 played out butterfly effect like?
Yeah, things don't
So that
play out
New
the way
Vegas
they
isn't
do
the same
in
either.
game because you have no control over it.
Right. What if
could
something
be.
in Fallouts 1 and 2 affected what, with no player character in it, change what we would have encountered in New Vegas if that was the first game, or something.
Exactly. Yeah, but to me, there are people that just scream and yell at clouds because it's fun to do on social media, and then there are people with big brains like the man above me.
Yeah,
who comes
Bubbles
in
gets
and
all this
says,
credit.
"What if all this takes place because the player character never existed? Period in any game." And he
It's my
starts
favorite
giving
theory.
you examples of like this never happened, so that and the other. And I'm not gonna give it all away. I'm not gonna give this just a little itty bitty taste, like when you go to Costco and they got the cheeses on the toothpicks and shit, and you can only get like 1 or 2, and then they tell you got to go down aisle 12. That's all I'm giving you right now, because Bubs is going to make a whole video on this, and you need to subscribe to his channel and watch it, because when he said it and he started breaking it down for us, my mind blew twice. Just
keep going. I'm almost all the way hard.
Also, I have
a
sort
Robert
of a
House
cool
thing to say right there, Bubbles.
Hard. I was doing the titty tassels too. Sorry.
I know.
I saw that.
I don't know, Ram.
Bubbles.
Can you follow titty tassels? I don't know.
Wait,
What are you saying?
I think I have
No. The Mike, I was gonna say about a coalying theory that it doesn't take away from what Bubbles was saying, but also like think about the level of manipulation that we know that is happening.
Yeah.
How much of that is still happening? Like everybody has these dates and they have this timeline of what they think is going on, but who's actually right. And they're going on their own perception. So if information is not being shared equally across the board, that would explain why people are going nuts. They're like, but this is the way it would happen. But honestly, if you've got all these factions that have different ideas about the way things are working out for themselves. They're all being told from a singular perspective. What you're seeing, in my opinion, is what the NCR thinks they're seeing. They're putting it up there because they're pretty sure that this is what it's working for them. But that, there's so much that what if somebody's not telling the CEO, the NCR, the whole truth? Where in the chain is the misinformation happening? And this can go way beyond just dates and stuff. That this is the way they're perceiving the events as they're happening.
Right.
And then you got the human factor. Not everybody's going to agree on the same date anyway.
Well,
you're adding human chaos into the mix.
Sure. When you go into Sanctuary at the beginning of Fallout 4, what Cosworth says to you. He's like, 210, give or take a few for a few dents in the old chronometer. It's like, a lot could have happened in 200 years to adjust the calendar a little.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you see
how many clocks stopped when the bombs fell? How many clocks?
You see it in this episode.
Who knows if everybody's got the same calendar?
You see it in this episode when the elder Tunis is telling the story of how the Brotherhood came to be, and all of a sudden he's talking about Quintus, excuse me, and how he talks about how Roger Maxson had to choose between his god. His god had nothing to do. He had to choose between the people and the Enclave. That was the choice. That was the original choice. But according to him, the story is different, and that's
because he was
kind
telling
of
it to
history in a
Maximus.
nutshell. We have an idea, but we don't know. And so I get what Ram is getting at, and it was great. I don't know if it follows up Bubbles with the booby tassels doing this.
I'm gonna fight all these urges, my brother.
I think both of these things can exist at the same time.
Absolutely.
No, I mean yours was good, but
Oh sure,
they really can. Those could both be true.
You can't beat the bubble tassels. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, Ramity really got to sell it now. The bar has been
decides
raised.
to do it. Bubbles wins.
I'm not even trying. Look, I'll undermine my.
Keep your shirt on.
I'll undermine my own. Who was president of the NCR in 2277? You know what I mean? Like, what events took place at that time that might be interpreted as a fall of the NCR? Depending on how you interpret
Oh,
those
okay. So
events.
you're saying even Cooper's referring to Shady Sands falling before it got bombed for
Right.
some other
You
reason.
recall from the game and from the show so far, the two joint stories of the NCR being this force for good that's expanding to
But
give people, to grow and become a more prosperous nation. And then there's the cattle barons that just want more money. And so they need more territory in order to be able to open up more territory for their money.
yeah,
And
I
so
know
I'm
what you mean,
thinking,
but we saw Shady Sands when it blew up. We got to see it moments before it exploded in a big fiery ball, and it was looking pretty good.
no,
It
it was
was a
great.
good
It was
place.
great.
Pretty
That
good.
wasn't
Like,
2287.
well, supposedly it was 2277. Right?
77,
It
according
wasn't.
to
It wasn't 2277 though. We don't know that for sure. It didn't have a date.
True, but I'm just saying, like, when those people came up with a theory, like maybe everyone's referring to the fall of Shady Sands as some kind of decline before the actual bombing. But when we saw Shady Sands, if that was the decline, like, I'm impressed.
I would have loved
So,
to see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I think
That's where the
bomb
framing
went
of
off
it
in
comes in.
84. It is when I think it went off. Right after the canonical events of the game.
just immediately,
Just immediately during the very end game portion of that, the portion where there would have been a second battle of Hoover Dam, would have been a perfect time to send a caravan back that way with the guy,
Now,
the
the
nuclear winter. But it wouldn't have been any sooner than that. So it definitely would not have matched up with the bulletin board. I don't believe. Because I don't believe that that's what that was representing. I think it was representing the decline that people like.
I mean, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. The reason that I brought it up was, like I said, there were so many people that went nuts about it. And what are you going to do? This is television. I mean, look no further than films. If you're a fan of the MCU, like I am, everything that we just saw, all the Iron Mans, all the everything, that was all an alternate universe, and now the real thing is coming.
Not even in the right order either.
Here, and because Spider-Man has been here all along, and because because Disney bought Fox, so now they can make a new story, so they change everything. This happens all the time. It has nothing to do with your game. It has nothing to do with your beliefs. You know what it has to do with? Television. You know what's number one in the US on Prime Video right now? The Fallout series. You know why?
Well, actually, I think it's because they haven't made very many errors like the one we're talking about. I actually think it's part of the reason it's so highly acclaimed is because they've been pretty careful. And
but Bubbles theory just got me thinking about that, and I thought, you know what? This is television. Look at the MCU. It is all changing coming up.
I just don't believe they would
Iron Man
change
is
the canon
doomed
of the
now.
game.
Okay, that's a big friggin' stretch, but they're gonna pull it off, and they're gonna make billions off of it. And so, between that,
they did it with Kang.
Exactly.
They've been pretty careful here, though, to say we're not going to choose a canon ending. We're using the fog of war. We're doing this, but all of the action, all the things that happened in the game happened. They've been very careful about that. So if you have Shady Sands getting nuked in 2277, which would be 5-6 years before the events of Fallout New Vegas, then now you've lied. And that's an easy lie to say because the canon event of the game doesn't even occur if there's no troops coming towards the Mojave to take the Boulder Dam for the second battle of Hoover Dam if they're too busy reinforcing their front line because they just lost their capital.
Yeah. And on this side of the line too, wouldn't all of the different major single player characters in each one of the Fallout games has their own tagline: the Wanderer, the Lone Wanderer, the Chosen One, the Wasteland,
Survivor, the Courier.
Wouldn't those tales be told? Of these
haven't
people?
heard one.
Are they still walking out?
Haven't heard of one.
Not
moreover
one.
than that, I haven't even seen Boone. We haven't seen Hide nor Hair or mention of a companion.
True.
Yeah.
None of those stories become stories that are told.
Yeah.
If there's
even
no
in
reason.
No Fact,
Mostly because of how much time
one
is
mention of
right?
Manny.
I think it's all, I think it's very insightful, and I think it's also very very smart of the showrunners and the writers to do that. Because they started out way back when they started talking about doing the Fallout TV show, everyone was all worried, how are they even going to do that? In my head, I was like, how could they even do that? Because it's my story. My game is my
Thank
story.
God.
But but we all have our own stories. We all get so attached to it. So they knew right away that they couldn't they couldn't go down that road, right? They couldn't
Mhm.
because they knew that they would be
The Last
disappointing
of Us
so
doesn't
many
work
people.
for this.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So
Halo
because
doesn't work, period.
we
So
have
there's
such
that.
a freedom of choice in the games, right?
Mhm.
And I think
Absolutely.
that's what makes them so like
Mhm.
that's why we get so attached to them and that's why we love them so much. Yeah, so I admit I was worried when they announced that they were going to do a TV show. I was like, how are they even going to make it good?
Mhm.
But I
Right.
think they did well, and I think it's because
Yeah.
of what Bubbles has been saying.
I knew they
They
had to completely unlatch it from
Yeah,
the first person
exactly.
experience.
Exactly, and they said that right away too, that it was gonna be nothing like it was gonna be within
You're
the
gonna see
universe,
something new.
but
Mhm.
it was gonna be something totally new.
Do you guys
Um,
know why I wasn't worried?
why?
Why?
I already had this.
What is that? It's
I already
news
had
to me.
I
this.
What is it?
recognize that.
I already
The
had
role playing.
this.
The
I
RPG.
already
Oh,
saw
okay,
the
okay,
Fallout
okay.
world as a setting, not unlike the Forgotten
Ah,
Realms or
that is very
Greyhawk
cool.
or whatever. I
Is that
already
the
saw it
D&D
like
based
that.
game?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
My brother
I
has
never
that.
saw it like it was just a singular video game, my character's story, who I dated, whether I chose this faction, because I already had
I
this.
dated.
And I already saw that it was the Forgotten Realms, but with
Yep.
super
Yeah.
mutants and intelligent ghouls. So
And that's the thing. Even as to Raven's point, which I couldn't agree more to. We have all going into this recording done recent streams of some sort of Fallout game, whether it be
Yeah.
76, Fallout 4,
right.
Mhm.
whatever. Some of us have even done Skyrim. But when you look at our streams of Fallout, we all have very different streams.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
We
That's
tell
true.
we have very different characters. We tell very different stories. We're doing very different things because you can do that with this game. And the people behind the series don't want to take that away from you.
Mhm.
So they completely ignore anybody with a fancy title coming out of a vault or anyone that's been shot in the head by frickin' by frickin' Matthew Perry, may rest in peace.
Well, they do and they don't. They gave us new characters, like the Ghoul and Lucy are the new. I guess
Yeah.
it's almost like they're going through this world like a player character making choices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. They're the new heroes.
They
Right.
add some aspects. You get you know, in this one, I mean, we got Victor, we got Camp Golf, we got this, we got that. But when you see the Brotherhood, they're not the Brotherhood we know. When you
Mhm.
see some of these factions, they're not the factions we remember, or they're not
Mhm.
in the positions that
They're in a
we
different spot.
remember them being, or that we put them in when we played
That's
that
right.
game.
Sure.
There is no fucking Paladin Harkness. Okay, we will probably be talking about that. I
You're
apologize.
gonna die on that hill, right?
Is
Yeah.
no Paladin
I'm ready. I'm ready to
Harkness,
talk about
There
that.
is no spoon.
who we talked about for a good 45 minutes last week, and he was dead a half
Yeah.
an hour into the
Yeah.
goddamn
I'm still
episode
gonna talk. I'm still gonna
You'll
talk
be
about
back,
it.
man.
Well, yeah,
We've avoided
yeah.
that.
because he's that
You
Yeah.
killed Harkness,
The
you
point is-
bastards.
The point is, they're giving you enough. They're giving you enough to satisfy the gamer in you, if that's what you're coming to see.
Mm.
But then they're showing you so much that you've never seen before, using so much they've never used before. I talked about Vault 24 and all of that,
Sure.
and so
Mhm.
it's that fine line of, we want to cater to casuals who maybe never played the game and give them a really awesome story, but we want to put enough in this that we get the hardcore fan to
Yeah.
come and watch
right.
weekly.
And like
For
it.
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
Bubbles.
And
what
then
do you
there's the
think?
Leo moment where he's at the screen going,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
you
I
know.
was thinking about this.
Yeah.
The show, I think what it does better as an adaptation than a lot of video game adaptations is that I feel like it doesn't build the world full of references for all the fans to geek out about when the reference pops up on the screen. I feel like it focuses on the characters,
Mhm.
journeys, on the narrative, on their development, and all the references and stuff are like they get to take a back seat. I feel
They're
like
secondary.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah, because
Easter
it's a
eggs.
TV
yes,
show.
they exist, and we
Yeah,
all
yeah,
love it. We love that they exist, but they exist as a and that's a subsidiary of what's important here.
That's
What's
right.
important
Mhm.
here
Mhm.
They
is
want to
that
tell a story.
three-dimensional characters, is that the world has so many wheels within wheels,
Yeah.
like all that stuff they've put as the primary focus.
Yeah.
It's why it works. It's why it's not just some
It's
trope.
like
you know?
I've noticed it just as I'm taking notes for what we do. Like I'm jotting down things and events for the characters and for this and for that, and then I have an Easter egg section. And when something comes up, I'll be like, "Oh,
Same.
there's Victor. Oh, there was Camp Golf. Oh,
Yeah.
there was this," and,
Yeah,
and
which
I'll
is
leave
cool,
it right
but
there in
not
one
the
spot.
only
But then
thing.
everything
Yeah.
else is about, well, do you remember this with Cooper, or what with Lucy, or with Maximus, or that sort of thing, because that's the meat and potatoes of the show. Everything else is the garnish.
Bubbles,
I have
hopefully your
really
thoughts still
organic
applies.
notes.
What were you thinking,
I,
Bubbles?
I just have 2 points to make real quick about that, the whole character thing, because I think GP's exactly right, and Dom as well. It's got to be a good show. It's got to hang together as a story. It's got to be about characters that we can grow to care about. And that is why you would never, ever canonize the choices or the likeness or the gender or the ending of any particular player character story in any of these games. You cannot show a courier and have them have boobs or not have boobs,
Right.
let alone make a certain faction choice. And you
Not only-
cannot do the same thing in Fallout 4. But that doesn't mean that Bubbles' theory that they're doing it as if those characters never lived at all is correct. That means that's just an easy way that I've been able to make it on graph paper to explain itself, given what we've seen so far. What if none of these characters ever existed, or, Nate died in the vault, or Nora died in the vault? The courier never woke up from their head wound. They could have existed, but they went on to be ineffectual. But that doesn't mean that's true. It just means that they're never going to show us the courier story or the sole survivor story, because that would invalidate GP's playthrough. It would invalidate Ram's playthrough. It would invalidate mine, Dom's, and that's why they would never do that.
I mean, not just, but also if you look at, because this is a different media format, you're also fighting for screen time. Now, you can't be Cooper Howard if you're fighting the shadow of a character that you had no hand in. And so as an actor, you're trying to draw the attention to you through your skill, your craft, your interaction with your scene partners. There's so much going on there. And if in the back of your mind, you're looking at Cooper Howard and go, that's not the lone wanderer I wanted to play. Like you can't have that conflict on the screen. You'll remove the integrity of the character itself, which an actor would never.
And that actually plays like perfectly with an interview that Walton Goggins did. Did you guys saw this? Okay.
Yes,
so,
please go ahead, Raven.
And
I don't
he
think I
talked
saw
about.
it.
I think the interviewer asked Walton if he had played the game, like any of the games, and if he was going to. And Walton was like, "You know what? No, I'm not going to, because I don't want to be influenced by my actions in the game or the gameplay or the, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm okay with that.
he wanted
valid.
his portrayal of Cooper Howard to be as genuine as he could make it.
Yeah.
And playing the game would maybe muddy the waters a little bit for him. And I gained a little bit of respect for him at that point. There's something about Walton that rubs me the wrong way.
Walton Goggles, I love you.
But everybody else loves him, so whatever. He's awesome. So.
He's been winning me over the course of this, because I know
Honestly-
him as much slimier characters.
Honestly, well, yeah, I've
and maybe
seen
it's
him
because
and much
smarmy
more
characters all
and
the
much
time.
more buxom characters if you watch Sons of Anarchy. But that's a whole other story.
He was in Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah,
One weekend, man.
I mean,
he was in a couple of movies.
These actors portraying these characters are so good that, like, it's not like people like GP and I are the only ones that have done playthroughs in Fallout as those characters.
Sure.
There's so many people. Oh, I'm playing Fallout as Lucy. I'm playing as the Ghoul. Can I beat New Vegas as the Ghoul? You know, like that. That's when the characters are so good that you want to put them into that universe. And when they are interviewed, because I think even what's her name? Ella Purnell. I think when she was interviewed, she said, I played it once. I was really bad at it, and I stopped. Like they don't want to play the game. They don't want to know. And she said she said something similar. Like they don't want to know the story behind the games. They want to create it. They want to be able to create a story without being biased to it.
That's right.
Yeah, they need to react to the world they're in. They're
Exactly.
doing a great job. So
Presence.
They really
They're
are.
establishing their presence. You know,
Can I just say too,
as
by the way, that
unique
it's
things.
awesome that you guys would want to play as them, that their characters resonated with you so much that you went, how do I take this through one of these games and play as that? But it should only work in that direction.
Yeah.
Should work in the other direction. Our
Not for an
characters
actor.
shouldn't inform their characters' stories
Mhm.
at all. However you leave it out, whether it's
Right.
they didn't exist or it's just we're not showing it and we're not going to talk about it, because that would ruin their performance versus the world, like House versus Cooper Howard. If we're talking about like, well, the courier would have just come in and he would have been wearing, he would have had the anti-material rifle and he would have done, and the House would have just been dead meat. Then how's Cooper Howard supposed
You
to?
couldn't have a
sign
story
out
then.
for that.
Yeah.
We're playing against the mythical courier who couldn't be killed, in spite of the fact that that's because they have save scumming and game mechanics on their side.
Plot armor.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
If you gave me Fallout 5 tomorrow, and I'll put this to all you guys, if you gave me Fallout 5 tomorrow, somehow magically, and it was a bug-free experience or mostly as
don't
much
tease us like that, Bubbles.
Come on,
but you had to pick
I'm gonna be
the
70 by the time
Lucy or
that shit comes
Maximus
out.
as your playable character, and you had no option to make your own character, would you call that Fallout 5, or would you be like, cool tablet game, bro?
Yeah.
Let me
No.
know when Fallout 5
wouldn't play it.
because that's
I
not what I
wouldn't think
play.
that
That's what
scripted
we're
would
No.
work, right?
Yeah.
It would
I
be
have to
all the
create
same.
my own character.
That's
for
the-
sure.
I don't know. I think if they did a Fallout game and they put these characters in it and they said you could pick them and do whatever the fuck you wanted with them, I might be cool with that. I don't know.
I'm not saying I wouldn't
Maybe
play
like
it.
an NPC.
Yeah.
But-
I'm not saying I wouldn't love it as a spinoff. Even I might really love it.
Yeah.
But if you called it Fallout 5, I'd call bullshit on
No,
you.
no, I don't mean if it was like
That's
Fallout
not
5,
what
but
you
if they
felt
did,
like.
because they're throwing the ghoul and everything. I mean, he's in 76 now, all over the
Yeah, that doesn't bother me because
and that kind of just makes me want to play 76 even more. It's like, oh, the ghoul's in it.
he doesn't outshine your character.
Their
either.
marketing is working.
Like,
yeah,
this is
and
great.
that's just it, Kathy. It's all marketing.
And if they
Yeah.
did some sort of spin-off
Ultimately.
game like that, where they just put this world and these characters into it, and you could choose from like Maximus or Lucy or the Ghoul or who, that would be kind of awesome. I'd probably play.
That
I can
point
see
that
it
it's all
showing up as a
marketing.
Pip-Boy game.
That's occurred to me a number of times because like it does every once in a while hit me. I'm just like, well, it's funny that I'm so into this message of the Fallout series and stuff about Vault Tech being so problematic because
Right.
Amazon is Vault Tech.
Yeah.
Amazon is Vault Tech, and
They
they're
pretty
selling
much
us
are.
the story.
They're
that
everywhere.
sells as the bad guys because it will sell, and that
Yeah.
is they win. If things sell, they win, and it doesn't really matter that they're telling us this narrative about how bad it would be to be Amazon. As
Yeah.
long as it makes them money, they'll do it. And I every once in a while,
and
I'm
they
just like,
will literally expand to everything.
it'd be
Like,
like
for
if Vault
Christ's sake,
Tech was
you can
making
get-
this series.
You get
and we'd
prescription
be-
drugs
it's
out of
about that
Amazon
ironic.
at this very freaking moment. They are
I saw that the other day.
everything.
Yeah.
Melissa works in a doctor's office for elderly people that is run and owned by Amazon.
There you
See,
go.
What?
There you go.
That's
See?
insane.
Yeah, Amazon is Vault Tech, and it's pretty ironic they're making this series
And
where
they don't
Vault Tech
care.
looks so
to
bad.
GP's
Yeah,
point. They don't care.
Yeah.
why would they?
Well, because they're making.
Is it a
money.
product?
That's
Does it
because they're
sell?
making money
Okay.
and they
Yeah.
probably like poking
Yeah.
fun at themselves, unlike Vault Tech.
I suppose in that same way that the smile crosses Robert House's face every once in a while in this
Get
series,
him.
where he knows he's pushed the boundaries a little bit, and he enjoys being able to do that with such impunity. I feel like Amazon occasionally has a smile flicker across their face because they
Right.
understand that
Maybe.
they're so far above the rules that they can go ahead and flaunt
Pretty
them
much
like
do
that.
whatever
But
the fuck they want. Yeah.
right,
But if
right.
you read their mission statement, you realize that most of them are cents with barely any education. And they actually think words like the dynamic synergies of
Oh my
this
God.
this partnership.
Oh, all the corporate
line up with our
buzzwords.
long-term
Whoa.
goals
I-
and,
Wouldn't
I
it be
stood
a-
up for Barb earlier because she felt like she had to toe the corporate line. I'm sure the Amazon execs who seem like empty-headed, soulless
Oh,
suits.
for the love of God.
I'm sure they also go home at night and and are like, I have to.
full, rich interior lives that are actually.
I'm sure they have their.
They mentioned that, yeah.
some kind of questions in their head of like
financial.
Wow, so this is what I have to do, I guess.
But
you know?
honestly, ladies and gentlemen, and I use that term loosely, wouldn't it be a trip if after we publish this episode, there's just this breaking news that Amazon is now providing shipping and handling for government projects like military supplies?
Let's not. Let's not.
Like, what if? I'm
yeah,
100% certain that's at least a little bit true already. I mean,
already, yeah.
Come on.
You can
But it's only a
now
media
providing
circus.
nuclear transportation.
You know,
No.
Always
500
the lines between
off of
public and
Amazon right
private
now and have them
are
shipped to your
blurring
house.
all the time.
It's like, oh boy,
yeah.
everybody just close your eyes and put on the ink spots.
Yeah, let's not think about this. Let's not think about this.
Let's retreat back into the
Yes,
fake
yes.
world where Volvic's bad and stop talking about our real world where Volvic's
That is a good idea, GP.
Going back
That is a good
to
idea.
so swinging back to my book, these characters are so strong that people like GP and I go in and stream games as these characters. And his Lucy will run right past Hardware Town and go, well, I have to help that person because that's who I am. Meanwhile, Cooper Howard, I'm running past Hardware Town and I'm like, fuck out of here with that bullshit. And I move on.
I know.
Because he already knows.
I know that's a trap.
Yeah, right.
That's bait.
Just like in the hospital where he's like, "Oh, a tunic, huh? Well, they don't deserve to live." It's because he already knows.
When you feel that strongly about those characters that you're willing to put them in that game, and then you're willing to play the way they would play that game. All of a sudden, game lore doesn't really mean much, does it? Because what the fuck would Cooper Howard be doing in the Commonwealth? What would Lucy
you're playing in that world to
doing
connect
in
to
the
the character.
Commonwealth?
Yeah.
Oh, I suspect he's been there.
For all we,
I think so too.
I suppose he's
for all we
probably had
know,
a shot at
Harkness has
Commonwealth
barely
if he
seen the
wanted to.
Commonwealth, and he claims to be a representative of them.
Yeah. So
okay,
just to
let's
Bubbles' point, I
there.
do think that the ghoul has been to the Commonwealth. I just started thinking of this like a couple of minutes ago that like the ghoul is kind of like omniscient almost. Like he kind of knows everything.
You know what the
Yeah,
ghoul
he
is?
makes a very good point of view as a narrator for the story.
Yeah,
as it unfolds,
exactly.
because he's from there from moment one to whatever end he meets.
The
For all
ghoul
we
in
know
this
is that
world.
he's been in every wasteland so far too.
Maybe he's
That's
been
what I
the
was about to say.
narrator of all those openings we've watched in all the games so
He's not
far.
Ron
you know?
Perlman. He's not Ron
Yeah.
Perlman.
No,
He's not wrong,
but you know, in short,
I would
in
love to
short-
see Ron Perlman make his way in.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
In
would be
short, the ghoul is in that world what Johnny Cash is to ours. He's just sitting there like, I've been everywhere, man.
And like Bubbles' ghoul character, he's been playing his guitar the whole time.
The whole damn time.
Okay, but so going back to the show, the episode that we were
Right.
supposed to be talking about this entire time.
yeah. Sorry about that.
Speaking of the Commonwealth,
Yeah. let's talk about
Speaking
Brochure,
of the
by the way,
Commonwealth,
Bubbles.
we do need to talk about Xander Harkness and
Mhm.
his
Do you mind
demise. Go ahead.
Do you
Will.
mind if I throw something on the table? It's very, very minor. We could gloss right over this. It doesn't even have to be a conversation topic. But I
go for
noticed
it, Ram.
at one point in time when Charlie put his hands on Cooper's shoulder, he had a very specific kind of ring on his finger that looked cobalt blue.
Oh,
The camera focused on that,
I thought it was a turquoise
and then it was
ring.
gone.
It was turquoise.
It
I thought it was
It-
like a native
could also
turquoise
be
ring.
Native American. It was a turquoise ring.
yeah,
Yeah.
was it?
All right.
Yeah.
they
Yes,
were
what I
very
thought.
specific about
Trust me, I'm
focusing
Native
on that
American.
ring.
It was a turquoise ring.
No, me too. Me too.
But why
Nice.
did they
It's
focus
in my.
on it?
But yeah, like turquoise is it specific to anything, or because
Well, I
to
mean,
me,
to a
like, my
native,
brain,
to native cultures in some cases, yeah.
Yeah,
That was my
sacred
interpretation.
and-
I just know
But-
because it's
Hang on.
not affiliated with any that I'm familiar with.
Ram,
No.
one sec. Lady Psycho, this is your wheelhouse, please.
well, it means a lot, but it's mostly just a sacred stone for
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the tribes, and in the Midwest to the Southwest area.
Oh, okay.
But it's also like a representation of the world, pretty much, of like a life force or that kind of sense of matter. So
Cool.
Kind
Okay.
of primal.
yeah.
Yeah, because
Spiritual.
my background hails from southern Georgia, northern Florida, that area, and so they don't have anything like that, or at least
Okay.
my grandmother, she had her own like necklace medicine bag, but we didn't have anything like stones or anything like that. So, but I wondered the possibility if that ring shows up later on in the scene, like how, and without actually looking at it too closely, could it be something else as well? So, anyways, but it was one of those things that I looked at it and I went, what's the odds that's going to show up later?
We clearly all noticed
I
it.
always have that thought too sometimes when I'm like, they like the focus.
Could be a red herring.
I was kind of jealous of that ring. I can't even lie.
They play with red herrings a lot in this series, I think.
They do
so far. So
Like Paladin Harkness.
Potentially
huge red herring.
I do want to talk about him.
He's like a big bird sized red herring.
Him. You know, like we had our last filming, and then the next episode came out, and I've been waiting and waiting. I'm ready. So if you guys can handle it,
all right, GP,
okay,
go for it.
So
let's go.
Dear Lord.
Right, I know. I'll try to be succinct. Let's see if I can pull that off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You have the floor, sir.
I'll get right to my point. It's not off the table that he is a synth. I know he died, but that's not off the table. Here's why. He does show up without a pilot. Because in this episode, when Maximus is like, well, we need a pilot, he's like, hell no. You know, he shows up without a pilot. He proposes to Maximus as they're flying along, and he's got him alone, that wouldn't it just be easier if you just gave me the cold fusion and I just left, and then there wouldn't have to be any bloodshed.
Right.
He just, like he's some lone agent, shows up with no escort. And he's just like, hey, just give me.
And he's asking for
and
the
I will
Holy
definitely
Grail?
take it to the Commonwealth Brotherhood for sure. Definitely. That's definitely who
can
I'm
I
here
add
for.
something to that point, GP?
Yeah.
He also talks about how without that cold fusion, civilization would be destroyed.
Yeah. He gave him the whole package.
Honestly, we now I know we may not have an accurate picture of the Commonwealth in this world that they're creating, but from what we know, the only real civilization outside of maybe Fenway Park is underground.
Right. That could have been an Institute synth saying, we need cold fusion or
exactly.
Right. And the other thing is, he says
perception changes everything, doesn't it?
Sure, it does. And I could be barking up the wrong tree. They
I have a
9%. A lot of fun playing with our expectations on this one, and I fully understand that he might just be a paladin from the Commonwealth, being a bro dude,
He could.
But he kept saying hot dog like it was some kind of pre-programmed catchphrase, over and over, hot dog. No one else says it.
He was charming him the whole time.
Is not in the
game. He gave me flashbacks. He gave me flashbacks to watching the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse with my son because every 5 minutes
hot
it was
dog.
Hot dog.
It's in their theme song. Yep.
Yeah, if the Brotherhood goes to mass fusion and they get the whatever the thing was called, the
beryllium agitator,
the agitator. Thank you. And they use it to power Liberty Prime.
Yeah,
but they still don't know where the Institute is. The Institute now needs another device to kickstart phase 3 in their reaction. And damn it, if that
cold fusion would be really useful, wouldn't it?
And now here's where we go. Here's where we go game, because if you all know, if you do the Brotherhood ending, when you go and you find Father before you blow up the Institute, he says we got the reactor running anyway. What did they use to get the reactor running? Could it have been cold fusion?
Right. And I understand that if we really looked at the dates and the timeline and we were like, do the events of Fallout 4 line up with where the present day here is in the situation? Okay. But I can't help but be thinking that he seems kind of synth-like. Like, even his
he's even a little sleazy too.
Right.
He definitely does not act like anyone from the Commonwealth Brotherhood.
Well, the Commonwealth Brotherhood is so serious. They're so serious. Look at Dance and look at Elder, Maxon. Like, they're so serious. And then this guy comes along and everything's a joke. Even when he describes, oh gosh, we're having a hard time, there's a smirk on his face. Yep. And then And he also does obviously he's trying to manipulate Maximus, whether he's with the Commonwealth or somebody else. He's trying to manipulate Maximus either way. But he tells him two different stories. One of them is, if you guys don't give us this, we'll just have to come here and with our incredible power, just kick your ass like it's nothing. Wouldn't that be a shame? And then also, gosh, without that cold fusion, boy, we're really up against it. As he says, we're hanging on by a thread. We could go any day now. And it's like, okay, so do you desperately need this cold fusion because it's so rough in the Commonwealth, or do you have so much surplus power you could just come here and take it anyway? If he's saying both things. It's just all of it's made up. None of it is
testing Max,
right?
Like in person A/B testing,
right? Yeah.
We're going to come and we're going to
in real time
because we're that badass. And also, what if we're up against it so bad?
It's very AI.
Watch him mentally switch tactics as he goes. And he could be from the Brotherhood in doing that, but it seems also like something a synth impersonator would do. They would walk through, they would try the different things.
Get in the read.
I think I'm going to say something that we might have all been thinking. It would not shock me in the next episode if when Maximus pulls that sledge out of Harkness's head, there's a synth component on the tip.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
That would be awesome.
That would be a fun thing to have.
I'm prepared to see that.
Oh wait, what's this?
Yeah, right. And then you've got that potential bombshell for Maximus to inform the Brotherhood about, I suppose. But we don't know where that goes.
Either way, it's a bombshell, though, right?
Yeah.
For us,
it makes for great cinema.
Either he's started a war or he's eliminated an institute plant, so it's kind of a bombshell.
Right.
Bombshell either way. Yeah.
I love that interaction with Thaddeus too. Like, I think I just started a war. Well, I've been a plant manager, so clearly we have a lot going on.
So we got a lot going on. I love Thaddeus. He's so fantastic.
What a fucking goober.
Okay, so the other thing I was thinking was that Harkness's complete disdain for the
abominations.
Thank you. That was it. It would be shared by the Institute too. I mean, they're also completely without compassion for anybody.
They do
above
send
ground
you on
that.
quests.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's like they also would be happy with.
Don't they have experiments on ghouls as well?
I don't think.
I know the super mutants in the tubes.
I know they created some super mutants way back when, and they don't even like them. But I don't.
Wiping out didn't bother them at all. So
experiments.
There's no conflict there for sure.
I can't remember if the vanilla content has the Institute experiment on ghouls. I've seen mods that kind of bring some of that.
It seems like something that they do, but it wouldn't be a huge priority for them.
No, I mean, even Father will tell you when he's standing on the top of the CIT building, like, this all needs to go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like, wow,
now that
I've never
I've
been
seen
out here.
it,
Now I know I was
even
right.
stronger that this can all go away.
Yeah,
like, there's nothing here to save.
No
we are the way forward.
Mm-hmm. So, the way he's just ready to wipe all those kids out with no empathy at all, that could be a Brotherhood move. It really could.
That is a very
he also lied to the kids too. He said, "We're not going to harm you."
Yeah, right. But that's because he doesn't know he's lying to people.
When he told all the smooth skins to move to the side,
we all saw that coming.
That kind of felt like an Institute move. Like, okay, you're cool, get over here.
Well, that's an Enclave move. That's a Commonwealth Brotherhood move. That's
Didn't you love though that some of the smooth skins stayed with their girlfriends?
I didn't notice that.
That was super endearing. Oh my God, yes.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even notice that.
And while we're on that point, don't you love Thaddeus's character? Like at the beginning, he looks like maybe he's exploiting children and running a sweatshop, which I guess isn't a maybe.
He definitely is. Yeah, that's what's happening.
But yeah, in the end,
I was waiting for him to pull a whammy
between them and the gun. Like when he realizes that
when he realizes
they're about to get gunned down,
he jumped right in front of that ugly ass assault rifle immediately.
Right, he stands up. Yeah. He knows the Brotherhood. He's not ignorant of what they're about to do and what they'll do to him, but he still stands up and he never moves out of the way of the barrel of the gun.
Honestly,
and he's not a coward in that moment.
You love him,
right? We were talking about character arcs last week. Think about Thaddeus in season 1 might have been one of the most hated characters of the entire season. And then in season 2, he's kind of being so I know he's exploiting them a little, but at the same time, he's being so sweet and nurturing to these children. And then
He's a sycophant.
he steps in front of a paladin with an assault rifle to protect them. Like, this guy has really added some layers to what was a very fucking thin onion from season 1 to season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm extremely interested
I
to
really
see how
appreciate
he
his character being in
progresses
this.
and what happens to him as the season goes on.
Yeah,
I
he
do
more
too.
than anybody is kind of our everyman. Like, he is that person who, anybody might be. Like, really, just anybody
Could also
might
be a
the
gateway
Thaddeus.
to a quirky spin-off, more comedy fallout.
I don't know, considering coming into
I'd
this
watch that
season,
100%.
considering coming
Oh,
into
totally.
considering coming into season 2, he was putting out on social media that he would have no involvement in this series whatsoever. I don't know if he was like trolling people.
That may have been started out that way, but clearly
that was just like exactly Bubbles like a big fat nanny boo boo. I got you.
Yeah.
But he was saying he wasn't going to have anything, and now he's clearly going to be involved in this story pretty heavily.
Oh yeah, especially right here at the end when
Hopefully.
everything's about to get pretty serious. He'll be in the middle of it. So,
Can
because
I
we
ask
saw
a
from
question?
we saw the preview, right? The whole next week thing.
Yep.
We saw. I don't think this is a spoiler for anybody who's seen the episode and actually watched past the credits. But we saw him in the power armor suit impersonating Harkness. We know he's going to be in the middle of things.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not see that.
I
Okay.
did not see that actually.
But you just
Holy
watched
shit.
past the credit. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
If you watched past the
No,
credits.
that's okay. That's my
We
fault.
tried
Don't
earlier
worry.
I'm
today.
sorry.
We watched and they just skipped. We watched all the credits and they just
they
skipped
skipped
back to do you want to
Yeah.
watch this next? No,
Well,
and then we moved on.
there's this
I've not been
fantastic
watching
moment
it
that
on.
they show his head in the helmet. You've seen the illuminated helmet.
Yeah,
The Iron
he's
Man.
sitting there talking to
Yeah.
himself. He's like, Harkness, your name is Harkness. Harkness, you belong
Okay,
here. You got
okay,
this.
okay.
And then they pan out, and he's in the middle of a brother of a brother.
Oh,
of a
he's in the
cafeteria in the armor, and it's all saying it out loud, and everybody's just kind of looking at him. It's like, you got Harkness.
Yeah.
He doesn't even realize it's like broadcasted
Awesome.
throughout the.
Like I said, what a fucking goober.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
So awesome.
fantastic.
Lovable.
Another useful
What a
idiot.
goober.
Yeah.
I had a question for you guys. Is the next episode the episode we see the chicken fucker arrive in New Vegas?
I hope so. I think so, because I think the next one. I
Maybe.
think the next one is where Lucy and the ghoul arrive.
Why
in
do
New
you
Vegas.
ask?
Because I know that he's got to be going there. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
he's
keep
got to
showing
talk
that bit in the
show.
trailer for
Yeah.
Do you-
uh-huh.
do you
Yeah,
miss-
yeah, yeah.
Do you miss the
They
chicken
show
fucker
him
that
running down
much?
the road and waving to the new,
I think
like
the
welcome to
chicken
Las
fucker
Vegas.
has a
sign.
role to play, Dom.
Well, yeah, somebody's got to fucking
Right.
chicken.
Somebody's got to fluff your tassels.
I mean,
You
it's
know,
Like
I'm
how
just saying.
in Lord of the
dirty
Rings,
chicken, but
Gollum
somebody's gotta
eventually
fuck
was
it.
crucial.
He's
in that
definitely a
final
court
moment, the-
jester in
the
this.
chicken guy.
Yeah.
Especially at 2 a.m. when it's last call, somebody's got to fuck the chicken.
Right? Right?
I'm-
Yeah, he's
Maybe I should
definitely-
stop saying fuck.
definitely-
I don't know.
Nah, this is a podcast. Whatever.
fucking
You
late
say
for
whatever
that.
you want to say. Yeah, really.
Fucking A.
But I do have a question though about since I didn't actually pay attention to the social media storm that came with all that. I'm a little detached from that. When did that actor put that up? Was
I'm
it
not
during
involved
the
in season
filming
2
or
thing?
before?
I want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
say I'm trying to remember if I remember correctly. I think it was right. It was like a week or two before the season premiered, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was a setup then.
What?
Yeah, it was a total one
Yeah,
of the.
I
Oh,
think
no, it
by
was
then
months
he
ago.
was
Months
Was it?
during
Yeah.
filming. It was months ago.
Was it?
Okay, I could be wrong.
And there's another
Okay,
part
right.
of that, by the way.
I'm not
we
that
haven't
big on
even
social
done,
media myself,
which
so
is the picture
Yeah.
of Roddy McDowell above his head when he's getting his
Yeah.
hands done.
It's
So-
true.
Who did Roddy McDowell play canonically in Fallout, by the way?
I don't know.
The president in President
Oh,
Eden
President
in
Eden.
Fallout 3.
Oh.
President Eden, the supercomputer,
Sure, that was Roddy McDowell.
Malcolm, maybe? One of McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm.
that's it.
Yeah, to me it was.
Malcolm.
I was like, wait a
Malcolm
minute, wait a
McDowell.
minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Roddy,
we've
Malcolm,
got each
Malcolm
other,
McDowell.
Bubbles. We
From
can
the
figure it
generation
out. We can
even
figure
prior
it
to
out.
me. Even I'm not that old, so it's from that.
Like they
scene.
both have unique voices. They're very similar, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're not
Right.
identical.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was-
Malcolm
it was
McDowell's
Malcolm
picture was
McDowell.
there in the post of him getting the hand molds.
Yep.
Which we still don't know
It's
exactly
just a
where that's
wonderful
going.
coincidence, right, guys? Right?
Of course.
No
Never.
reason for that at all.
Never.
No. I'm sure there's no reason. None.
President Eden, anyone?
Hmm.
Yeah, we have, the Enclave definitely exists in this world and has been awfully absent, but who knows whether they come into this before the
All I'm
season's
saying,
over.
if the player
We'll
doesn't
see the
exist in
Enclave.
Fallout 3,
Technically, we've already seen them in a certain person, but I'll digress.
Well, we've definitely seen them in season 1.
No, I mean this season. Oh, my notes.
Oh, you think Hank? You think it's Hank?
Oh!
Right. And you might be right. You might be right. I
He's
really
the
do.
only non-goober in all of Vault Tech. Of course, he's Enclave.
It could be. I feel like I
got a little goober
I don't
in
have
him.
enough information to
Yeah,
know.
but have you
It
seen-
could be.
Yeah,
You
he's
saw the vault
okie
fall
dokie.
out. Everybody in that vault was a schmuck with the idiot savant perk. Hank's over here just doing
there's no question.
microtechnology and knows
he's
all
cut
this
from a
science
slightly
and shit.
different
That's
cloth.
Enclave. That's
Yeah.
Enclave.
but he was Barb Howard's intern.
Yeah, Bob was a goober.
Yeah.
And now he's a
Classic
goober
move
on
where
a
your
on a
understudy
Roomba.
overtakes you. That's a classic move.
It's a classic move. Yeah.
It's the perfect plant.
I
He
love
could
the way
be.
it's going, and I love being continuously surprised. We did an episode a
Right.
couple of weeks ago, and I was so sure that certain things were going to happen. And as soon as I watched the episode, I was like, I'm an idiot. Like, I'm stupid. Like, I don't know
Yeah, same
anything.
here.
Like, this is so different, but awesomer, if that's
No.
even a
Yeah.
word, than
No, but
I thought it was going to
that's
be.
That's
you know?
the
I rather like
joy-
surprises.
That's
Yeah.
the joy of watching series like this
Right.
and doing podcasts like this is we might think we know, and then all of a sudden we see the following week. Like I said, we spent a good chunk of last week's episode just discussing all these things about Paladin Harkness.
Hot
Sure.
dog.
And here he is dead as a doornail, not
You know what,
halfway through the friggin' episode.
You know what?
And he's dead.
You're a professional wrestling guy. Here's the deal. He had an awesome head of hair. His hair was definitely too cool for work, right?
Yeah,
Right.
for
The
sure.
Chad chin and the whole beard line.
He even had the
Everything
beard going this
from-
week.
And now his head. is
Excellent
a
choice of
ashtray.
actor.
yeah.
listen,
Yeah,
like, whether it's
Kumail did an awesome job.
Honestly, whether it's
Mm.
whether it's TV series or pro wrestling or whatever, like the big surprise moments when done right
Mhm.
Yes.
are
Mhm.
what you get hooked on and what you come back for. It's why
It's the crowd work.
It's why I
Yeah.
do these live reaction shows every week because I'm waiting for that big surprise. Even
That's
if,
right.
If I
even
could
if
predict
somebody-
everything, why would I watch? You know, like
Mhm.
yeah.
Exactly. And I'm thrilled to be wrong when I'd love to be wrong about
Exactly.
every single week.
I'm always thrilled to be wrong because something huge happened.
Yeah. What is the line from Mega Brain? What
Megamind?
my kids watched it, Megamind. When he goes, what's the difference between a villain and a super villain? And he goes, presentation.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And that was Paladin Harkness in a heart, all the way across the board. So,
Let's
Mhm.
I think maybe I don't know if we were talking about it after watching the episode or what, but I remember it was
Yeah.
brought up. Like, wouldn't it be wild if you saw somewhere maybe towards the end of the season, like this dark maybe corner of like possibly the underground CIT, and then putting together, a synth on a table, and he opens his eyes and they flip him up kind of like he's Darth Vader. When the light catches him, it's another Harkness.
yeah.
Oh my god.
It could happen.
Oh yeah.
Before we jump off though, something it just occurred to me. That Securitron that they fight when they're breaking into the Sarsaparilla bottle plant, that was a Mark II.
Yes.
It means that, as far as the events of Fallout New Vegas go, it means that House upgraded his Securitrons to a Mark II, or someone hacked that one and upgraded it to a Mark II. But how
It's
they don't
also
start with,
glitching.
Yeah.
right? That's what I
means
mean.
somebody pushed a
was.
button.
But that again goes back to Bubbles' theory, because now he doesn't need the platinum chip; he needs cold fusion, according to
Sure,
Victor.
right. I mean,
And if the player character can't get the platinum chip to House, then none of that happens. But if the player character is removed, maybe House finds a way to get the chip himself.
sure,
Mhm.
right? Or
any
somebody just
successful
hack
for
that one
time.
Securitron. But I noticed, I was
possible.
like, that's a Mark II. That might mean they're saying something about the events of Fallout New Vegas.
It could, for sure.
As-
But
as-
there's
Well, I think
two
we're
endings
meant to
in the
find
game where-
out.
There's
Well,
two
they
endings
could
in the
be
game where
saying
you
that
can for sure
Bubbles
have it,
was
right?
right.
There's Yes Man. You can get
Yeah.
Mark II with Yes Man with
That's
House,
true.
right?
Yeah.
What else? You could side with the NCR in the end and still activate the Mark II for
You-
House
pretty far.
because you're
Yeah.
not asked to kill him. Maybe a little simultaneously with activating the Mark IIs, but I think it's right after you activate the Mark IIs or
Right.
don't. So you could activate the Mark IIs for House and then get the meeting with the ambassador Crocker, and he asks you to kill House or get rid of House.
I think you can pretty much upgrade them to Mark II with every faction, because even when you go down in that bunker and Kaisar tells you to, it's not like he goes and checks. He's just like, "Oh, I heard a rumble. You must have done what I said. Thank you, Alway."
Even
That's the end of it.
Directly to Fortification Hill with the platinum chip. If you go back, you confront him, sleep with him, or he gets away or whatever. He runs straight there. That's where you find him when you go looking, and he's got the platinum chip and he ran to Fortification Hill. That's why in some versions of that story, not House, but Kaisar already has the platinum chip, and he says, "Take this fucking thing and go down into this room and do this stuff." So even a Benny, if the player doesn't exist, Benny gets his way. He still upgrades him to Mark II.
Exactly.
So,
God, that would have been a great callback if Matthew Perry was still alive. Rest in peace. Jesus.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if all this was Benny's doing and you see Matthew Perry come out in the suit and everything?
Ring ding ding.
Hey, smooth moves.
Show me those Charlies.
That'd be a
Shake
great
'em, baby.
promo for next year or the following year when they put out season 3. Benny with no ring a ding ding.
Could it?
would be
I mean, just in his memory, I'm just gonna say it. Could it be any more epic if he was in this?
Yeah, really. Fully.
Okay,
Really
do we
sad.
want to talk about the closing sequence images?
Sure.
Because there were some good ones.
There were some
Actually,
awesome
can
ones.
I back us up a little bit? There was a scene that we didn't really talk a whole lot about. The scene where Maximus is in the council chambers with all the elders.
Oh yeah.
We didn't really cover a whole lot of that.
Right.
I had actually a question about that scene here. Because I'm starting to see now that Elder Quintus is not as smart as he thinks he is. Just because I think in a lot, like he's really trying to push the other chapters into following his banner. Because he's got, like, he's like, oh yeah, they'll all fall in line. Well, if that's the case, why does he ask the most morally flexible chapters to rally underneath his banner? And then it's just like, oh no, we've lost them because Harkness showed up. It just seemed like that wasn't really the wisest decision, was it? Like if you're being truly altruistic about this, believing that you're the one who should be, why do you get all these yucks coming in and just being knuckleheads underneath your own roof?
Well, he answered that question. He told that whole idealistic story about Roger Maxon, how he had to choose his God. That was a narrative he was trying to sell.
Well, he
And
couldn't
as soon
sell
as
that to them.
Well, as soon as Maximus says, "But if our cause is right," like he brings it up when Quintus says, "Oh, we just lost the alliance, you idiot. We can't do any of it. We can't fight now." And then Maximus says, "But if our cause is righteous," because he had just told the story about
I just believe
you fight
you.
if it's a righteous cause.
Yeah.
And then Quintus immediately dismisses it. Immediately he's like,
Yeah,
this is why the sword doesn't get to talk when
No,
the
he
big
said
brains
I
working
could
on
just
stuff.
kill him. That was the
Right.
word. He's just like, I could just
I
kill
could
the
just
guy.
kill him.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the reason behind it
But
is
Quintus
because
is like,
Quintus
it doesn't matter if our
is-
cause is just. It's only if the numbers work out. And so we know he's full of crap about that.
He
Yeah.
was playing to his own people in that room too. I think
Mhm.
more than anything else. That's the whole purpose of the whole Sermon on the Mount kind of God
Mhm.
versus the government kind of thing. He was playing to the people that kept turning their head whenever he would talk, and then whenever
clerics?
the clerics that were sitting there.
But that's the thing about Quintus is, to answer your question, he is the most typical know-it-all son of a bitch you will ever meet. He literally sits there. He literally sits there and preaches his gospel to somebody that gives no fucks about it, thinking that is going to convince her to maintain an alliance. And she literally tells him 5 seconds later, "I've never been in it for the religious bullshit." Bye.
Yeah.
And then after everything he said to gain Maximus's trust and build his confidence and make him feel close so that he would do his bidding, he then turns around and snaps on the man who is trying to basically say, like, well, these are your words. I believe in you. And he is such a know-it-all that he has to literally smack him down and scald him like a dog in front of everyone and tell him to go away, which only makes Maximus feel like less of a member.
That's why he was so vulnerable
He was
to
more
Harkness.
uncomfortable in his position.
Yeah.
So this man is the typical know-it-all, because he is so butt blind that he doesn't see himself constantly shooting
And he's carrying a
himself
trump card.
in the foot.
Well, he knows he's full of crap. He knows that that whole sermon was, BOS. And sorry, forgive me.
Freudian slip much?
He knows it.
He
though.
put the
He knows
BS and BOS as well.
Yeah, exactly.
God stuff was
And he
for
knows
his
that.
clerics. He actually only wanted to expose the person who was bucking his plan as a godless unbeliever so that he could reinforce his power amongst his own clerics. And when she said, I never went in for that religion stuff, his look told everything.
Yep.
Thank you for just reinforcing my strength in front of these 8.
Yeah, but then
enemies.
why, when Maximus said, if our cause is right, would he dismiss Maximus in front of those same people offhand as being dumb for thinking that righteousness had anything to do with it? Like,
It's the
I
same
don't
problem
think
that House has. His ego is so large that when
yeah.
he is confronted, he rages. He
Yeah.
can't help it. And he snaps back real quick and goes, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done it quite like that. But he rages when he's confronted.
He
Because
reminds
he's got an
me of
ego
the
problem.
Yeah, he's got the caricature of the overbearing fire and brimstone preacher, the inflexible, preacher man who's just better than everybody and constantly.
And they're all typical know-it-alls.
He's that
They
kind
know
of
it.
character.
They're going to make you know it. They don't care how it backfires on them.
And as
They're
long
just
as-
going to spread their word and know that they're right.
As long as you never challenge them, they're never going to slip up in their mask, their role, this godly choose between God and your government.
Sure.
He's never going to
purpose.
back
Yeah.
off from the Gandalf thing until he's challenged. And if he's challenged by
Gandalf.
someone he considers way beneath himself, like somebody who's not even a decision maker, like Maximus, there's a chance he could just snap for a second. And I think that's what happened, which is why Max was susceptible to Harkness when he walked outside, because he had just been snapped on in a way that was even out of character for Quintus. Quintus normally keeps his mask in a pretty reserved place and whispers, shady shit down the ear of somebody maybe,
Right.
but not out loud, not in front of other people, kind of showing his true colors. And in that moment, he was like, the sword is so boring and dull. And okay,
He was concerned about the optics.
Yeah.
No, honestly, in real life comparison with Maximus and him at the time, it just reminded me of like when you start dating someone. You have that like 3-month trial period where you're with somebody and you think they're great and everything's going good. And after that like 3-month trial period, all of a sudden the veil comes down and you get to see who that person really is.
Yeah.
And sometimes that person is nowhere near what you thought they were, because for 3 months they acted like they were the best freaking thing since sliced bread. And that's exactly how this is played out between these two. Maximus has got nothing but encouragement, and we've seen it throughout from the end of the season, from the end of season 1 into this, where he talks all this, you are my sword and you are the power of the brotherhood, and you will take my word to the masses and make us great and make us a powerful entity again, and yada yada yada. That's that probationary period. The veil came down in that room when Maximus tried to recite the man's own words to him.
Yes.
Well, in the end, Quintus was never going to not disappoint Maximus. The pedestal Maximus was putting anybody on at that moment was going to be real high. He was looking for purpose. He was looking for a father figure. He was looking for someone to just tell him what to do.
Yeah.
And he was going to give his complete faith to somebody. Quintus was there.
Yeah.
But nobody, Quintus or otherwise, was ever going to actually live up to the standard of being infallible, of being,
to absolve you from
altruistic
right
and all that
begs
stuff.
the
make all
question
your
then.
choices for you.
Is Quintus actually afraid of what Maximus represents
Possibly.
as a rising renaissance, or the rethinking, the restructuring of the Brotherhood as a righteous sword
Yeah,
underneath?
he should be.
Do you think that he's
Maybe
already
he should
seen
be,
that
but I
far
don't think
ahead?
he is.
I honestly
Does he feel
think-
threatened by him?
I don't
I
think
don't
he
think
feels.
I don't think he regards him highly enough for that.
Threatened. I think he's more concerned with like, if I build this kid up to be so strong, can he overtake me? It's like that little fear at the back of his head, which is why he did what he did, because he's
You think
trying
so?
to keep him under his thumb.
I got the sense that he thinks of Maximus as entirely replaceable. When he says, and the likes of you as my sword, he doesn't say you will be my sword. He's like, you or some other person like you will be my sword. He doesn't think of Maximus
Any
as
other
special.
person I could fit in the suit, Mike Brady.
Right. Whoever else I can essentially just mold to be
Well, so
do what I say.
He had
you
to
know.
kind of like
Yeah.
build him and gas him to get him to that point to become the sword. But
Yeah.
now he's trying to basically kind of knock him down a peg or two to have that sort of control over him.
It's because he was frustrated. You know,
And I
he
think-
just didn't want to
I
put up
think
with it.
Quintus, if anything, like to Dom's point, if anything, I think Quintus might be starting to realize that Maximus is special in some way, and
killed Paladin Harkness.
Well, yeah, the fact that he
that'll be pretty special when that
suggested
comes out.
that,
Yeah.
but also like I don't know, like it might be just kind of like a little inkling that Quintus has that like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be teaching this guy everything because he could actually do something with it. So like, yeah, I think maybe Dom's half right there.
So I've got a question. Is Maximus an intelligent character?
That is a good question.
You mean like in a Fallout sense? Like
Is he someone who like if you
That's
teach
his
him too
style.
much, he'll like take the reins from you? Is he an intelligent character?
I don't think he's ambitious in that way.
It feels like
I think he's emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
He may not be super wise, but he has a root. He doesn't have the blueprint for his future. He only has his past. And so I think what he's looking to do is maybe what he's really out to do is not to aspire to become great. Not like because remember, he was deflated when he was like looking at the power armor. He finally got the power that he wanted, and then he's just like dead in the face, shooting ghouls. He's like, I can't believe I have this power, and this is what I'm doing with it.
He wants purpose that he can believe in. Yeah, but I think his special stat would start, in the intelligence category, at like a 4 or something. Maybe
I was going to say,
I'm okay with that. I really like his
were-
character. He's a very
good building
character.
him.
Yeah, he internalizes a lot.
Yeah,
I think if you were creating his character, his intelligence level might be at like a 6.
Nah,
at best.
I think if there was like
but I like him a lot. He's a good
He's very like
Yeah, and that's
technologically
just it.
savvy.
He's
Like
a
he can tell
good
you everything about a
character.
suit of
You know
power
what?
armor. He can do
I
all
just
these
thought
things,
of that.
but he
It
can't
was another
really.
reason
He's
I
not
thought
really
Harkness
street
might be a
smart.
Sith is because he didn't know or care about the power armor mods.
That too.
It seems like every
I don't care, I just
brotherhood
use
is
the shit.
geeking out about the power armor mods. Even random
Mhm.
people like Dane and like they all
And
talk about the
Lucy.
power armor mods, and then he brings it up to Harkness and he's like, "Well, I don't know about any of that. I just
I don't
how
know
to
about
kick
that
ass
shit.
with-"
I just use it to
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, that sounds a little like somebody
He's a
who
synth.
doesn't
Oh,
know.
I just
armor.
wanted to talk about the vertibird for a second. Did anyone else notice how like rickety it sounded on the inside when they
That
were
was
flying
awesome.
it? And
That
I
was
was
awesome.
like, they're
Well,
fucking made of paper mache. They
That's,
fall out of
that
the
explains how they
sky.
crash so easily.
Like
Yeah.
nothing. I was like, as if they did.
You
that
They
could
were
on
literally
mass
put a rocket
produced
on
at
it, it'll
rock
just
bottom
fall right out of the
prices.
sky,
Yeah.
so
Deepest
that made
military
sense.
bitter.
It was
Yeah.
so awesome. Anyway,
They look wonderful when they're flying, though, right? That's
No,
what
they're
all the
really not.
combat photographers want to see.
I
It's
want
really not
them
like
to
a
be
school
like
of
rickety
engineering
and,
anywhere in
and
the
worn out.
wasteland.
I like that. That's the Fallout vibe.
Yeah, well, if
anyways,
they made them sturdy, then we might have to start, really
might be
panning this series.
They might be a force to be afraid of for sure. If the Brotherhood had sturdy, reliable, vertebrates that didn't fall out of the sky and crash
Like
land
the
on
Enclave did.
anyone, they might be a force to be reckoned with for sure.
they might, but they're not, thankfully. Anyways, we've been talking about this for almost 2
while.
hours.
A
Mhm.
while.
So I
Wow.
think if there's if there's nothing else that anyone has to add, I think we should wrap it up. What do you guys think?
Nah, I'm all for it.
All right.
Yeah, I think we've
All right.
covered all the things that we've kind of detailed in,
All I
in
can-
our
all I
And
personal
in a few
interactions.
hours, I'm going to see the next episode and be like, "Damn it!"
You gotta wait.
I know. Now Claudius is dead. What the hell?
All I can add to this is thank you guys for showing up and doing this. Thank you to anyone that watches this and
Oh,
anyone
man.
or listens to this on our audio platforms. And if you are right now, subscribe to these people. Subscribe
Right.
to Ravens.
If you are right now,
subscribe
you've
to
hung in there for a couple
Yeah.
hours. Bless you,
Ram.
you saint.
And
know?
I-
Yeah, you're the real ones. You, if you're still here, you're the real one.
Yeah, we love you.
You guys.
Yeah.
You're
Love
good.
you
You.
guys.
Yeah, love you
Yeah,
guys.
truth.
Anyways, so you can catch us all on YouTube. If you like what you're hearing, there will be links in the description below, like Dom said. I stream every weekend. Bubbles streams all weekend long, plus a couple. Ram, I don't know what your schedule is. What's your schedule? Do you have a schedule?
I did say today that because my work situation did not change as dramatically as I thought it would, that the beginning of the week is still so Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and sometimes Thursdays.
All right, awesome. Game plan. What schedule are you on now? Monday, Wednesday, Friday still?
Pretty consistently Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays for a long time
Nice.
now.
Nice.
Now and then I have to move something around because real life, but yeah.
Meh, real life. Anyways, and then the notorious Dom. You guys are like all the time, every day, all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we cover wrestling almost every day, but Notorious Gaming typically comes on Sundays, Thursdays, that type of stuff. And we will be back more often now that I actually have my game working.
Nice. Nice. All right. So thank you all for sitting down and talking about episode 3 of season 2 of Fallout.
Thank you for hosting us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raven.
We will all be back next week. So check us out, y'all. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Bye.
But maybe tomorrow, shit made me feel better wherever we change up the weather tomorrow. I'm tired of sorrow, shit maybe tomorrow.